12 and 13, and some of the important concepts here are to be discussed. Then it is your socialization, then your structure and function of the society, and the social control and change. There are the three concepts that are to be discussed today in this session, in this last session of your 131. So, but one thing is that I can see that very few students or learners are attending the classes, and it is not encouraging at all. So, IGNOU is doing a lot for the learners so as to get the classes in this your juncture of your corona. Still, students are not participating. So, I hope that they should join different classes in this your lockdown period. Anyway, let's start today. Today we'll discuss socialization, an important concept in society. You know that in the very childhood, when we are born, we are just like a biological organism. We need some prerequisites so as to be social animal. ଆଗରୁ ଆମେ ଅନେକ ଥର ଡିସ୍କସ୍ କରିସାରିଛେ ଯେ we are social animal. Human being is a social animal. And ଗୋଟେ ପଶୁ ଠାରୁ ଆମକୁ ଭିନ୍ନ କରୁଛି ଏଇ particular attachment that is called social. How we are becoming social? ଆମେ social ହଉଛୁ କେମିତିଆ? ଏ sociability ଆସୁଛି କୋଉଠୁ? And that is done by this process of socializations from the very childhood infancy ରୁ ଆମକୁ what to do, what not to do, what are the prerequisites so as to be a member of the society, the learning processes that are to be internalized. All are your taught by the your different your groups, primary groups, secondary groups, and other your peer groups. So that we can learn the have and what to do, what not to do, the different your uh, what is the behavior pattern, prescribed way of behaving. All sorts of things are done through this process of socialization. So ସାମାଜିକୀକରଣ ଏକ ପଦ୍ଧତି, ଏକ ପ୍ରୋସେସ ଯାହାକି ବହୁତ ଛୋଟ ବେଳରୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଇଥାଏ. ଫ୍ରମ ଦ ଭେରି ବିଗିନିଂ, ଫ୍ରମ ଦ अर्ली ଚାଇଲ୍ଡହୁଡ ରୁ ଆମକୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦେବା ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଇଯାଇଥାଏ ଯେ ହାଉ ଟୁ କୋପ ଅପ୍ ୱିଥ ଦ सोसाइटी. हमको ଆମ ପାଖରେ जो इमीडिएट जो ह्यूमन एनवायरनमेंट थांती in the shape of your family, your peer group, then your schools. Different groups are attached with us so as to make you know or make us know what are the your prescribed way of behavior pattern so as to be social. We have to internalize so many things from your birth to death. In the whole life we learn many of the things so as to cope up with the society and to behave as expected by the other members of the society. So let's see what is socialization is all about. In this your unit, we should be able to define socialization, identify some of the main thinkers contributing to studies on socialization, then distinguishing the various types of socialization, and identify agents of socialization and how they affect our personality. So this is all about the unit 11. So far, socialization is concerned. Here we are focusing on the meaning and definition of socializations. The discussion will be carried forward by looking at the types and the theories of socialization. Then finally we'll end the discussion by examining the various agents of socializations. ଯୋଉମାନେ ଏ socializations କୁ carry forward କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ଆମ ଭିତରେ internalize କରୁଛନ୍ତି. କହୁଥିଲି ମୁଁ your family is the first school, mother is the first teacher. ସେଇଠୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଇଯାଉଛି socializations. ତାପରେ other groups ଆମ ସହିତ attach ହଉଛନ୍ତି, ଯୋଉମାନଙ୍କୁ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡ଼ିଏ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଆମକୁ ଦିଆ ହଉଛି ବିଭିନ୍ନ ତମର କାହାଣୀ ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ, ବିଭିନ୍ନ activities ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ. So we are getting attached with that particular groups so as to educate ourselves. So let's see the socializations meaning and all that. So socialization is an important process for the functioning and continuation of society. Different societies have different ways and methods to train their newborn members so that they are able to develop their own personalities. ମୁଁ ଆଗରୁ କହିସାରିଛି ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ when we are born we are just like a biological organism. हमको shape दिया होची, हमको mold करा होची so that we will be a human being. ଆମର जो ମାନବୀୟ ପ୍ରକୃତି ଗୁଡାକ ଅଛି, ମାନବୀୟ ଗୁଣ ଗୁଡିକ ଅଛି, ତାର ପରିପ୍ରକାଶ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଆମକୁ इमिडिएट ह्यूमन एनवायरनमेंट मानक सहित अटैच होगा पड़ुछि एवं सेहितर फैमिली रो जन्म एवं सेही प्राइमरी एवं सेकेंडरी ग्रुप्स गुड़ाक जहाँकि आम इमिडिएट ह्यूमन एनवायरनमेंट बोली कहूँ से माने ही हमको सेव करुछंती मोल्ड करुछंती हमको एक बायोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनिज्म रु एक ह्यूमन बीइंग रु ट्रांसफर करुछंती सो एवं एई प्रोसेस जो जो पद्धति माध्यम रे हमें एक बायोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनिज्म रु एक ह्यूमन बीइंग को हमें ट्रांसफर होजु ट्रांसफॉर्म होजु दैट इज कॉल्ड योर द प्रोसेस ऑफ सोशलाइजेशन सो ऑल द सोसाइटीज दे यूज्ड टू हैव देयर ओन वे own methods to train their newborn members so that they are able to develop their own personalities. This training of and building the personality of the child is called socialization. Then socialization is a process of learning rules, habits, and values of a group to which a person belongs, whether it is family, friends, colleagues, or any other group. So as to cope up with the human environment, आमे जो ग्रुप रू बिलोंग करूछु से ग्रुप रो सब किछि गुण गुडी को बहन करबा पई हमर जो अनेक गुडे नेसेसिटीज को फुलफिल कला बेले को जो प्रेस्क्राइब वे ऑफ बिहेविंग प्रेस्क्राइब मैनर्स ऑफ ऑल द योर सोशल नॉर्म्स रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन सिखिबा पई आमे सिखुछु कोठु हम हम सेति पई अनेक गुडे ग्रुप्स काम करूछंती हमर इमीडिएट सराउंडिंग रे एवं से प्रोसेस को आमे कहूछु द प्रोसेस ऑफ सोशलाइजेशन इट इज द प्रोसेस by which a child slowly becomes aware of her or his or himself as a member of a group and gains knowledge about the culture of the family and also the society into which she or he is born. So it is a process. एतरे हमर इंटरनेशनल सहित है अनेक गुडे जिंस जद्वारा कि आमे से ग्रुप रे आमे जो हम जो ग्रुप रे आमे बिलोंग करूछु जो फैमिली आमे बिलोंग करूछु जो समाज रे आमे बिलोंग करूछु तार सब कुछ गुण गुडी को आमे ग्रहण करि परिबे एवं एक सही गुण को आमे बहन करी आमे विल बी सोशिएबल एवं आमे एक्सेप्टेड हेबे एवं समाज रो एक रेस्पोंसिबल सदस्य हिसाब रे आमे काम करि परिबे So socialization is also considered as the passing of culture from one generation to the next. आमे कहउतले जो बंचिबार शैली जीवन शैली आमे एई शिक्षाटा आमे ग्रहण करिथाउ एवं ता जहा कि गोटे जनरेशन टू अन्य एक जनरेशंस को पर्कुलेट करिथाय एवं एई प्रोसेस को कहउची सोशलाइजेशंस बा तमरा दैट इज कॉल्ड योर सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस बा हमर सामाजिकीकरण पद्धति During the process of socialization, children learn about their family traditions from their elders and preserve them and pass them on to the next generation as they grow older. Socialization helps children to learn and perform the different roles and responsibilities which they have learned from their elders. It therefore helps to associate one generation with the others. आमे आमे जो संस्कृति बा जीवन शैली बा प्रेस्क्राइब वे ऑफ नॉर्म्स वैल्यूज आइडियल्स जहाँ भी किसी आइडियोलॉजी जहाँ भी किसी अच्छी ताकू आमे हमर इमीडिएट एनवायरनमेंट रो आमे शिक्षा करथाउ एवं ताकू आमे हमर जीवन हमर हमर लाइफ स्पैन भितरे आमे ताकू गुटे जनरेशन रो आ गुटे जनरेशन को आमे ताकू हस्तांतर करथाउ एवं एही प्रक्रिया चालू रहिता जनरेशन टू जनरेशन एवं आमे ए सामाजिक गुण गुडी को आमे शिक्षा करथाउ if you see the different definitions of socialization then according to Giddens socialization refers to the process which transforms a quite helpless human infant into a self-aware knowledgeable person who is skilled in the ways of their society's culture. This is the definition of Giddens. Then if you see the Worsley's definitions that it is simply the transmission of culture, the process whereby men learn the rules and practices of social groups. Socialization is an aspect of all activity within all human societies. Then if you see the definition by Bilton, then the socialization is a process by which we acquire the culture of the society into which we are born. The process by which we acquire our social characteristic and learn the ways of thought and behavior considered appropriate in our society is called socialization. I mean socialization माध्यम रे the prescribed way of behavior all the your lifestyle all the your norms all the values एवं सब किछि को हमें शिक्षा ग्रहण करिथाउ एवं ताकू हमें एको प्रिजर्व करू एवं यहा हस्तांतर करिथाउ गुटे जनरेशंस टू अन्य जनरेशंस को एवं एही प्रोसेसटा होची सोशलाइजेशन एवं हमें देखितबे जे समाज रे हमें अनेक गुडे डेविएंट बिहेवियर बा क्रिमिनल जो अछंती बा जो हम एंटी सोशल बोली कहूछु एई माने एई सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस दे गति करि न थांती बोली एमिति होइता बोली सोशलिस्ट मत दियंती अनलेस एंड अनटिल आमे एई सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस दे गति करिवे नाही आमे सिखिबे नाही फ्रॉम द भेरी इन्फांसी एवं चाइल्डहुड रो डिफरेंट फेजेस रे आमे जदी अनेक गुडे सहजात जो गुण गुडी अछि मानवीय गुण गुडी परिप्रकाश जदी हेबाको देबे नाही हमर व्यक्तित्व विकास हेबो नाही ताहेले आमे डेफिनेटली देयर इज एवरी चांसेस कि आमे डेविएंट बिहेवियर हम भितरे आसीबो एवं हमको एंटी सोशल बोली लोके निश्चय नेबे सो लेट्स सी जे ए सामाजिकरण पद्धति केमती गतिशील होता है गोटे फेज रु अन्य फेज को फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट्स सी द टाइप्स ऑफ सोशलाइजेशन सोशलाइजेशन इज ए प्रोसेस that continues throughout life from birth till adulthood. However, there are different phases in which the process takes place. These phases are usually spread across different age groups and have been categorized as the different types of socialization. First is your primary socialization. अति प्राथमिक स्तर आमको सामाजिकरण पद्धति सामिल करा जाए व्हेन वी आर बोर्न इमीडिएटली आमर सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस आरंभ हो जाए एंड ऑलरेडी मु कहितले जे फैमिली इज द फर्स्ट स्कूल एंड मदर इज द फर्स्ट टीचर एवं सेही स्टार्ट हो जाए तापरे अदर जो आमर किन जो अछंती लाइक योर ब्रदर सिस्टर अदर योर एल्डर्स मेंबर्स इन द योर फैमिली से मानकटू आमे अनेक गुडे गुण सिखु एंड दैट इज योर प्राइमरी सोशलाइजेशन. So primary socialization is the most important feature in the process of socialization. It happens during infancy and childhood. The primary stage basically takes shape during infancy and childhood, where basic knowledge and language or behavior is taught. एटा ही समय जो समय रे कि हमको बेसिक नॉलेज लैंग्वेज एवं बिहेवियर पैटर्न को हम भीतर इंटरनलाइज करा हिता है थ्रू द इमीडिएट द मेंबर्स ऑफ योर इमीडिएट ह्यूमन एनवायरनमेंट. And this phase of socializations usually takes place within the family. During this phase, infants learn language and certain basic behavior forms of the family and the society in which she or he lives. It is through primary socializations that the foundations for later learning are laid. एठु ही तंकर मूलदुआ पड़े तंकर व्यक्तित्व विकास रो मूलदुआ परिवार ठु ही आरंभ हुए. इमीडिएट किन ग्रुप जो अछंती बा जो फैमिली जो मेंबर्स गुड़ा आम सहित इमीडिएट एनवायरनमेंट रे आम सहित शामिल अछंती सेठु ही ए प्रोसेस स्टार्ट हो जाए एवं एठु आमे शिक्षा आरंभ करथाउ. इट इज थ्रू प्राइमरी सोशलाइजेशंस दैट द फाउंडेशंस फॉर लेटर लर्निंग आर लेड. प्राइमरी सोशलाइजेशंस refers to the internalizations of the fundamental culture and ideas of society. It shapes the norms, values, and beliefs of the child at a time when it has little understanding of the world and its different phenomena and basic socialization agent molding the child is the family. जेतेबेले आमे पूरा अज्ञ था मु कहितले मु when we are born we are just like a biological organism एवं से biological organism को shape एवं molded करा होछि through your socialization process एवं ता basically start होछि from the family. From the very childhood we are learned, we are taught the basic knowledge, the behavior pattern so as to cope up with the immediate environment and to behave like a human being. मु आउर कहितले जे आमे सामाजिक पशु आमे पशु टु भिन्न आम भितर सामाजिक गुण गुडी को अछि एवं से सामाजिक गुण गुडी को परिप्रकाश होछि थ्रू दिस योर सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस. Then see the secondary socialization. Secondary socialization, it occurs once the infant passes into the childhood phase and continues into maturity. ए पीरियड टा सेकेंडरी सोशलाइजेशन जले गोटे छोट छुआ फैमिली रो टिके बड़ हला परे चली जानला परे स्कूल गोइंग एज हला परे जले से बाहर को आउछि तार सेकेंडरी सोशलाइजेशन स्टार्ट हे आउछि. ड्यूरिंग दिस फेज more than the family some other agents of socializations like the school and friends group begin to play role in socializing the child. एवं ए माने होजंते से ग्रुप जो माने के सोशलाइजेशन स्टार्ट करंती. Different kinds of social interactions through these different agents of socializations help the child to learn the moral standards, customs, and principles of their society and culture. When the child receives training in the institutional or formal setting, such as the school, secondary socialization takes the shape. This your level runs parallel to primary socialization. एपटे घरे शिक्षा दिया होतबो सेपटे जे स्कूल अटेंड करछि सेठी तमर प्रिय पियर ग्रुप अछंती टीचर्स अछंती सेठु मते स्टार्ट हे जिवो एवं समस्त मिसिकी जेतकी तमर अछि मानवीय गुण गुडी को जहा कि प्रेस्क्राइब रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस social norms, values, traditions, customs ସବୁ ଗୁଡିକ ଆମେ ତ internalize କରାଯାଏ ଏବଂ parallelly ଯାହା ଚାଲେ ଏପଟେ primary group the family ତାର ସେ ଚଳେଇଥିବ ଏପଟେ ଆମର ଯୋଉ immediate human environment ଏବଂ other groups ଯୋଉ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେମାନେ ଚଳେଇଥିବେ ଏବଂ ଏଇ process ଚାଲେ up to adulthood ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ according to Prones secondary socializations is usually carried out by institutions and people in specific roles and positions. Further, it involves the acquisitions of knowledge and conscious learning and thus opens for critical reflections, while primary socializations points to the transmission of naturalized cultural patterns. It is your secondary socializations. Then next, a child learns the gender socializations. Gender socializations when we become conscious about our gender. According to the your we have gender discriminations that as your male and female, and according to our gender we learn so many things which are prescribed so far the expected role and your behavior pattern associated with your gender, that is called your gender socialization. Gender socializations can be understood as the process by which different agents of socialization shape the thoughts of children and make them learn different gender roles. ଆମେ ଜେଣ୍ଡର ରୋଲ ଶିକ୍ଷା କରିଥାଉ ଥ୍ରୁ ୟର ଜେଣ୍ଡର ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ ଏବଂ ଏହା ମଧ୍ୟ ଭେରି ଆର୍ଲି ଚାଇଲ୍ଡହୁଡ ରୁ ଆମକୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ହେଇଥାଏ ଯେ ଏଜ ଏ ବୟ ହ୍ୱାଟ ୟୁ ହାଭ୍ ଟୁ ଡୁ ହ୍ୱାଟ ୟୁ ସୁଡ୍ ନଟ୍ ଡୁ ଏଜ ଏ ଗର୍ଲ which type of dresses that you have to wear, how you will react to the your immediate environment, how you will treat the guest. Okay, so many things, these things are taught in your genders हमको conscious करा जाए through socialization. According to the your World Health Organization, gender refers to the socially constructed characteristic of woman and man, such as norms, rules, and relationship of and between groups of women and men. Gender role refers to social roles assigned to each sex and labeled as masculine or feminine. So a particular role or particular behavior pattern is attached with your gender. And say gender consciousness ଆମ ଭିତରେ ଭିତରକୁ ଅଣା ହୁଏ ଯେ that as a boy or as a girl how you will behave, which type of your that your what is that way of behaving that you should carry on in your day-to-day activities that are being done by this your gender socialization process. Then much before children begin to know themselves as a male or female, they receive a series of clues from adults in their family and society because male and female adults have different ways of managing infants. Infants learn quite a lot from visual and symbolic indicators. From the very childhood, we are being given the instructions with your different symbolic indicators that we belong to this particular your gender category and we have to behave in such a way. These sorts of things are being taught to us. Then differences in the manner of dressing, hairstyle, different cosmetic products used by men and women provide children with indicators of variations between the male and female. From the very early childhood, ଗୋଟେ ଝିଅକୁ ଫ୍ରକ୍ ଟେ ପିନ୍ଧା ହଉଛି, ଗୋଟେ ପୁଅକୁ ଗୋଟେ ହାଫ ପ୍ୟାଣ୍ଟ ଟେ ପିନ୍ଧା ହଉଛି, ଗୋଟେ ଝିଅର ହେୟାର ଷ୍ଟାଇଲ କୁ ତାର କେଶକୁ ଲମ୍ବା କରିବା ପାଇଁ କୁହା ହଉଛି, ବଏଜ ମାନଙ୍କ ହେୟାର କୁ କଟ୍ କରା ହଉଛି. So many indicators are there ଏବଂ ସେଥିରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଜେଣ୍ଡର କନସିୟସନେସ୍ ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଅଣା ହଉଛି ଏବଂ accordingly ତାଙ୍କ ସହିତ ସେଇ particular gender ସହିତ prescribed role କୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ internalize କରା ହଉଛି ଏବଂ ସେଇ ୱେରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ behave କରିବା ପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦିଆ ହଉଛି from the very early childhood. Within 2 years of age, children begin to understand what gender is. Apart from adults around them, children receive a lot of clues about gender roles and differences from television programs, toys they play with as well, from their coloring and picture books. For example, a baby girl is very commonly seen playing with your dolls and or kitchen set, while the boys would be found playing with toy cars and or toy guns. So gender consciousness na ଆମ ଭିତରେ ଅଣା ହଉଛି from the very early childhood ଏବଂ ତା ସହିତ expected behavior pattern କୁ ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ internalize କରା ହଉଛି, ତାଙ୍କ gender role କୁ ବାବଦ ତାଙ୍କୁ ସଚେତନ କରା ହଉଛି. So that is that gender socialization is being imparted by the your family and the other your secondary groups around them. However, today the definition of gender is no longer fixed within the binary of male and female because there is a third category which is often referred to as the third gender. इवन वर्तमान खाली केवल मेल एंड फीमेल बा टू जेंडर्स को लेके कॉन्शियसनेस ये कराउनी रादर another your gender is found in the society that is called your third gender. The term third gender is assigned to a person by the society or by the person her or himself when one does not want to be recognized as a male or a female. In some societies where there three or more genders are recognized, we can find the use of the term third gender. This is usually associated with the gender role that a person performs, and in some societies, the gender roles are not very strictly defined. The term third gender is often used to describe, in Indian context, the Hinjras, jahaku ame kohuchu, is the in the context of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, they are said to be your third gender. More recently, the term third gender is also associated with the term queer, wherein any person not willing to be strictly identified as male or female may be categorized as a queer person. So thus the your male, female, and the third gender, and the consciousness and the your gender role attached to these three your genders are being socialized by the family and other your groups from the very infancy and childhood. Then another type of socialization is called anticipatory socializations. Anticipatory socializations या मध्य शिक्षा दिया जाता है anticipated. The term anticipatory socialization was introduced by the sociologist Robert Merton. এটা কোন? It is a process by which someone is consciously socialized for future occupations, position, and social relationship. From the very early childhood, ଜଣକୁ socialized କରାଯାଇଥାଏ accordingly ଯେ ତାର future ରେ ଏକ ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦିଷ୍ଟ ଏକ goal ଥାଏ ଯେ ସେ ଏହା ହିଁ କରିବ ଭବିଷ୍ୟତରେ, ଏବଂ ସେୟା କରିବା ପାଇଁ ତାକୁ ଯୋଉ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଗ୍ରହଣ କରିବା କଥା, ଯୋଉ way of living, pattern of behavior, ସେଗୁଡାକ from the very early childhood ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦିଆଯାଏ। ଯେମିତି ଆଗ କାଳରେ ଗୋଟେ ରାଜକୁମାରକୁ ସେଇ ପଦ୍ଧତିରେ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦିଆଯାଉଥିଲା, so that ଯେ କି ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟାୟରେ ଏକ ରାଜା ହେବା ପାଇଁ ତା ଯୋଉ ଗୁଣ ଗୁଡିକ ସେ ବହନ କରିବା ଉଚିତ, ତା from the very early childhood ତାଙ୍କୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦିଆଯାଇଥାଏ। ତାଙ୍କୁ ଇଆଡେ ମୋରାଲ ଟିଚିଂ ସହିତ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଅସ୍ତ୍ରଶସ୍ତ୍ର ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦେବା, ତାଙ୍କୁ ଧାର୍ମିକ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକ, ତାପରେ ଆଡମିନିଷ୍ଟ୍ରେଟିଭ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକ from the early childhood ତାଙ୍କୁ ଏଇ ବାବଦରେ socialized କରାଯାଇଥାଏ, and that is called your anticipatory socialization. Through anticipatory socialization, people are socialized into groups to which they wish to or have to join, so that entry into the groups does not seem to be very difficult. Even in your tribal societies also, to be a member of that particular your tribes, ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ from the very early childhood ସେମାନେ ସେହି tribes ର ଯେତିକି ତାଙ୍କର way of living, ତାଙ୍କ style of living, ତାଙ୍କର way of hunting, all that ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ from the very early childhood ସବୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦିଆଯାଇଥାଏ, so that ସେମାନେ ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟାୟରେ ସେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ସହିତ ମିଶିବା ପାଇଁ ବା ସେ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ନିଜକୁ ଆଇଡେଣ୍ଟିଫାଇ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ କୌଣସି ଡିଫିକଲ୍ଟିଜ ଆସିବ ନାହିଁ। Some people suggest that parents are the primary source of anticipatory socializations when it comes to socializing their children for future careers of social roles. For example, a child make to leave home to stay in a boarding school with the anticipation of better socialization. ଆମେ ମଧ୍ୟ from the very childhood ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଏଟା better example ଯେ ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ସମୟରେ ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଛୁଆକୁ ଯେଲେ କହୁଛୁ ଯେ ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ସମୟ ତତେ ଯେହେତୁ ହଷ୍ଟେଲ ରହିବାକୁ ପଡିବ, from very early childhood ସେ କେମିତି ସେ ନିଜେ ନିଜ କାମ କରିବ, କେମିତି early ତାର ସେ ଉଠିବ, କଣ କରିବ, କେମିତିଆ ଫ୍ରେଣ୍ଡସ୍ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ବିହେଭ କରିବ, କେମିତିଆ ପ୍ରେସକ୍ରାଇବ ରୋଲ ଯୋଉ ଅଛି ହଷ୍ଟେଲ ର ବୋର୍ଡିଂ ତାକୁ ମାନିବା ପାଇଁ ପଡିବ, ଅନେକ ଗୁଡେ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଆମେ ଦେଇଥାଉ from the very early childhood, and these are your anticipatory socialization. Then another is your resocialization. Resocialization ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ socialization pattern ରୁ ବାହାରି ଗଲା ପରେ ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ କୌଣସି ଏକ ଫେଜ ରେ ଆମକୁ ପୁଣି ଅନ୍ୟ ଏକ ସାମାଜିକୀକରଣ ପଦ୍ଧତି ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ଅନ୍ୟ ଏକ କିଛି ଗୁଣ ଆମକୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା କରିବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି, that calls your resocialization. Resocialization refers to the process of leaving certain behavior pattern and roles in order to adopt new ones as part of one's evolution in life. might have seen जो ଝିଅ ମାନେ ଯୋଉ ବାହାଘର ହେଲା ପରେ ଯେଲେ ଅନ୍ୟ ଏକ particular ଏକ ପରିବାରକୁ ସେମାନେ ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି, this resocialization takes place. ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ତାଙ୍କର ନିଜର own way of behavior pattern ତାକୁ କିଛି ମାତ୍ରାରେ ତାକୁ ଛାଡିକି ତାଙ୍କୁ they used to live that, ଏବଂ ସେମାନେ ନୂଆ environment ରେ ନିଜକୁ cope up କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡେ ନୂଆ ଜିନିଷ ଶିକ୍ଷା କରନ୍ତି, and that is your resocialization. Resocialization occurs when there is a major transformations in the social role of a person. It occurs throughout life where individuals experience radical breakthrough from their past experience and learn new manners and values which are starkly different from what they had learned previously. And that is your resocialization. According to you, you will see the your what is that uh, remarks of your Irving. That is resocialization uh, in mental asylum. My definition. That is your resocialization. According to your Irving, a mental asylum is a total institution in which almost every aspect of the resident's life was controlled by the institutions in order to serve the goals of the institutions. For example, the institutions demands that every inmate obey the rules and regulations even if it is not very useful for the person. Another common example is that of a girl, jaake abhi just मैं ଟିକେ ଆଗରୁ କହୁଥିଲି, who is about to get married is often resocialized by suggestions and advice from her parents on different matters so that after marriage it is easier for her to adjust in her husband's home with her in-laws. So this is resocialization, learning new things so that we can cope up with a new environment. Then another socialization is your adult socialization. Adult socialization, it takes place in adulthood when individuals adapt to new roles such as that of a husband, a wife, or an employee. ଆମେ ଜୀବନର ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଫେଜ୍ ଦେଇ ଗତି କରିଛୁ ଏବଂ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ଫେଜ୍ରେ we have to learn so many things so as to cope up with that immediate human environment ଏବଂ ଏହା adulthood ରେ ମଧ୍ୟ a particular socialization ହୋଇଥାଏ so that when we are growing to a particular stage or coming to a particular stage we have to play a certain roles ଏବଂ ସେଇ ରୋଲ ପ୍ଲେ କଲା ବେଳକୁ ଯୋଉ ଏକ୍ସପେକ୍ଟେଡ ଯୋଉ ବିହେଭିୟର ପ୍ୟାଟର୍ନ ହେଲା ବା ଯୋଉ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡେ ଜିନିଷ ଯାହା ତା ସହିତ ଆଟାଚ ଯୋଉଥିବ ତାକୁ ଆମେ ଶିକ୍ଷା କରିବା ପାଇଁ ବାଧ୍ୟ ଅଟୁ। So this is related to their needs and wants. Adulthood ରେ ଆମେ ଦେଲେ ଯୋଉ ଯୋଉ socialization ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଆସୁଛି that is due to our needs and wants. People continue to learn values and behavior patterns throughout life. Socialization does not have any fixed time period. It begins at birth and continues till old age. ତେଣୁ ମୁଁ ଆଗରୁ କହିସାରିଥିଲି ଜନ୍ମଠୁ ମୃତ୍ୟୁ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଆମକୁ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ଫେଜେସରେ ଆମକୁ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡେ ଜିନିଷ ଆମକୁ ଶିଖିବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି ଏବଂ ଏହି ତେଣୁ ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ ପ୍ରୋସେସଟା କନଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ନୁହେଁ, ଏହା ଚାଲିଥାଏ ଅପ୍ ଟୁ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ଫେଜେସରେ ଅପ୍ ଟୁ ସର୍ଟନ ଏଜ୍ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଅପ୍ ଟୁ ୟୋର ଓଲ୍ଡ ଏଜ୍ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଏହା ଚାଲିଥାଏ। In traditional societies, the older people had a significant influence in important matters related to the family, but both male and female adults had exerted their influence with increase in age. ଏବଂ ଯେମିତି ଆମର ବୟସ ବଢି ବଢି ଚାଲୁଛି ଆମେ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ଫେଜରେ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ରୋଲ ପ୍ଲେ କରୁଛୁ ଏବଂ ଆକର୍ଡିଂ ଟୁ ଆୱାର ରୋଲ ଡେଫିନେଟଲି ଆମର ଆଣ୍ଟିସିପେଟେଡ ବା ଏକ୍ସପେକ୍ଟେଡ ବିହେଭିୟର ପ୍ୟାଟର୍ନକୁ ଆମେ ଶିଖିବାକୁ ବାଧ୍ୟ ହଉଛୁ so that we can cope up and we can command. Then in modern times we can find this elderly influence decreasing in some families. However, that is not so that older people have completely lost their authority in the modern day families. Even today, their opinions are sought for certain your important matters. Like the younger generations continues to be socialized by their adults. Similarly, the older generation also gets socialized by their younger generations through different experience. Apart from the family, adult socialization continues to take place through other agents of socialization. For example, one's workplace, social groups, senior citizens forum, clubs for recreation, and some religious institutions also. So adult socialization also takes place in your later phase of your adulthood. Then now we'll discuss some theories related to your socialization process. Some theories. Some of the most well-known theories in sociology and psychology agrees that the self, the primary concept in the development of the child, and it is through the process of socialization that such a development takes place. Therefore, let us now look at some your prominent theories related to socialization. First is your Mead's theory, that is your development of self. ଆମ ଭିତରେ ସେଲ୍ଫ ମୁଁ ଅସ୍ତିତ୍ୱ ନିଜର ଅସ୍ତିତ୍ୱ ଜାଣିବା ନିଜକୁ ଚିହ୍ନିବା ଏଇଟା ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଇଥାଏ ଫ୍ରମ ଦ ଭେରି ଚାଇଲ୍ଡହୁଡ। ଏହା କେମିତି ହେଇଥାଏ ତାକୁ ଥୋରୋଲି ଡିସ୍କସ କରାଯାଇଛି ବାଇ ମିଡ୍। According to the sociologist Mead, young children begin to develop as social beings by imitating the actions of those nearer to them. By doing so, the child is able to develop the ability to understand the action of the persons with whom he is interacting. From the very childhood, the imitations takes place by the children. They used to imitate the elders, those who are near to them, so that they can understand the actions of the person with whom he is interacting. ଏବଂ ଏଇଥିପାଇଁ ଆମକୁ ମାର୍କ କରିଥିବେ ଆମେ ଛୋଟ ଦିନରୁ ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ପ୍ଲେ ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦେଇଥାଉ। ଆମେ ଛୋଟ ଦିନରୁ ଆମେ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଡ୍ରାମା ଷ୍ଟେଜରେ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ତମର ୱାନ୍ ଆକ୍ଟ ପ୍ଲେରେ ତମର ମୋନୋ ଆକ୍ସନ୍ସ ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ରୋଲ ଦିଆହେଇଥାଏ ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ ସେମାନେ ଫ୍ରମ ଦ ଭେରି ଚାଇଲ୍ଡହୁଡ ସେମାନେ ଏକ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ରୋଲକୁ ପ୍ଲେ କରିବେ ଯାହାକି ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ସମୟରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ବହୁତ ମାନେ ସାହାଯ୍ୟ କରିବ so as to cope up with while playing that role in the your later phase. ତ ପ୍ଲେଟା ହଉଛି ଏକ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ଏକ ପ୍ଲାଟଫର୍ମ ଯୋଉଥିରୁ ସେମାନେ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡ଼ିଏ ଜିନିଷ ଶିକ୍ଷା କରିଥାନ୍ତି as the meat says. Play is one of the ways by which children often imitate what adults do. The play stage begins around the third year, during which the child begins to adopt different roles of adults in her or his life. Meat refers to these others as significant others. ଆମେ ଯୋଉ others ମାନଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ଶିଖୁଛୁ ତାଙ୍କର ଗୁଣ ଗୁଡ଼ିକ ଆମେ ଛୋଟ ଦିନରୁ ବହନ କରିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁଛୁ ତାଙ୍କ ୱେ ଅଫ ଲିଭିଂକୁ ଆମେ ଇମିଟେଟ୍ କରୁଛୁ ଏଇ others ହଉଛନ୍ତି significant others ବହୁତ ମହତ୍ୱପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ସେମାନେ ସେଇମାନଙ୍କର ଲାଇଫଷ୍ଟାଇଲ୍ସକୁ ଆମେ ଫ୍ରମ ଦ ଭେରି ବିଗିନିଂ ଆମେ ଜାଣିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁଛୁ ଏବଂ ସେଇଥିରୁ ଆମର ପର୍ସନାଲିଟି ଡେଭଲପ କରୁଛି as meat says children's play gradually develops from simple imitation to difficult games where a child of 4 or 5 years old will enact the role of an adult. For example, children are often found imitating the classroom situations where one becomes the teacher, the others become students, and they enact a classroom teaching session. Most children locally refer to this play as teacher-teacher game. Another similar act of play is that is your doctor-patient, where children imitate the role of a doctor, nurse, and patient, and try to enact a situation where a patient goes to the doctor for treatment. So by imitating these roles, that a particular child from the very beginning, he used to adapt, he used to learn the different your expected prescribed role and your behavior pattern of the significant others. Again, it refers to this your act of imitation is taking the role of the other. The significant others, that is you're taking the role of the others. Then this stage being a complex one is known as the game stage. This is the game stage. Mark basically apart from your platform जो दिया हो छोटे छोटे छुआ मान को from the very early childhood through your what is that competitions जो करा हो तापरे what is that through ଆମେ ତାକୁ କହୁଛୁ ପ୍ଲେ ସ୍କୁଲ ମାନଙ୍କରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଭର୍ତ୍ତି କରାହଉଛି ପ୍ଲେ ସ୍କୁଲ ଫ୍ରମ ଦ ଆର୍ଲି ଚାଇଲ୍ଡହୁଡ ତାଙ୍କୁ ବହୁତ ଗୁଡିଏ ଜିନିଷ ସହିତ ତାଙ୍କୁ ସାମ୍ନା କରାହଉଛି ତାପରେ ସେମାନେ ଟିକେ 3 ରୁ 4 ବର୍ଷ ବା 5 ବର୍ଷ ହେଲା କି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ପ୍ଲାଟଫର୍ମ ଦିଆହଉଛି ଏବଂ ସେଇଥିରୁ ସେ ସିଗ୍ନିଫିକାଣ୍ଟ ଅଦର୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କର ତାଙ୍କର ବିହେଭିୟର ପ୍ୟାଟର୍ନକୁ ଫଲୋ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଇମିଟେଟ୍ କରିବା ପାଇଁ କୁହାହଉଛି and this is called your game stage where children begin to attain maturity and develop a sense of self and others. ନିଜର ଅସ୍ତିତ୍ୱକୁ ଜାଣିବା ନିଜକୁ ଚିହ୍ନିବା ଏବଂ ତା ସହିତ ଇମିଡିଏଟ୍ ହ୍ୟୁମାନ୍ ଏନଭାୟରନମେଣ୍ଟକୁ ଚିହ୍ନଟ କରିବା ଏଇ ପାର୍ଟିକୁଲାର ପ୍ରୋସେସଟା ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଇଥାଏ ଇନ୍ ୟୋର ଗେମ୍ ଷ୍ଟେଜ. Children begin to understand themselves as me and by looking at themselves through other people's views and opinions about them. ଏବଂ ସେଇ ଷ୍ଟେଜରେ ହିଁ ସେମାନେ ନିଜକୁ ଚିହ୍ନନ୍ତି କେମିତି by getting the opinion of others about themselves. ସେଇଥିରୁ me start ହୁଏ ଯେ others opinions about you ଏବଂ ସେଇଥିରୁ ହିଁ ତମେ ତମର me concept କୁ develop କରୁଛ ଏବଂ ନିଜକୁ ଚିହ୍ନିବାର ପ୍ରୟାସ ହଉଛି. The me is the social self while the I is the response to the me. In simple words, I comprises of the persons of the child to the actions of others while me is the organized set of reactions of others that the children takes on. Then this I or me concept develop karuchi from the very childhood in this your game stage, the process of socialization. Another stage of self development occurs around the age of 8 or 9. Tapre game stage parala pare when you are coming to the age of your 8 or 9, again your another stage is there এবং এইটি মধ্যে socializations হଉଛି. At this stage, children are able to function as members of a group and also understand their role as a member of that group. Meet introduces the concept of generalized other and significant other. ठीक है, आउरी तांकर जो ଶିଖିବାର ଯୋଉ ପରିଧି ତା ଆହୁରି ବିକଶିତ ହେଇଥାଏ, ତା ବ୍ୟାପ୍ତ ହେଇଥାଏ ଏବଂ ସେମାନେ ପୁଣି ଜେନେରାଲାଇଜ୍ଡ ଅଦର୍ସ ଏବଂ ସିଗ୍ନିଫିକାଣ୍ଟ ଅଦର୍ସ ଭିତରେ ଏଇ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସ କୁ ଏବଂ ଏଇ କନସେପ୍ଟ କୁ ସେମାନେ ଶିଖିଥାନ୍ତି। Generalized others can be understood as those rules and values of the culture of a particular group in which the child is engaged. That is your generalized others. ତାପରେ by understanding the generalized other, the child is able to understand what kind of manner is expected as well as valued in any social setting. Say accepted values, accepted ideals से जो ग्रुप रे बिलोंग करूची ताकू से शिखिबा ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍टा କରିଥାଏ। एक ब्रॉडर जिनस को सीखे। Significant others consist of those persons who are of importance in the child's life and affect his or her understanding of self along with the child's emotions and behaviors. Mead was one of the first thinkers to understand the role of the significant others in the development of self. According to him, socialization depends upon the child's understanding of others' views as important in her or his life. ଏହା ଏହି ଶିକ୍ଷା ଗ୍ରହଣ କରିଥାଏ, ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କ ଓପିନିଅନ କଲେକ୍ଟ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିଥାଏ ଫ୍ରମ ଦ ଭେରି ଚାଇଲ୍ଡହୁଡ ସୋ ଏଜ୍ ଟୁ ଡେଭଲପ ଦ କନସେପ୍ଟ ଆଇ ଆଣ୍ଡ ମି। ତାପରେ ଏବେ ଦେଖିବା ଚାର୍ଲସ ହଟନ କୁଲେ ବା ସିଏଚ କୁଲେଙ୍କର ତାଙ୍କର ପର୍ସପେକ୍ଟିଭ ବା ତାଙ୍କର ଦୃଷ୍ଟିକୋଣ ଅନ୍ ୟୋର ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ ପ୍ରୋସେସ। that is ତାଙ୍କର theory ହେଉଛି the most important theory of your CH କୁଲେ, that is your looking glass self। এই କଥା ମନେ ପଡିଲେ ମତେ ମନେ ପଡେ CH କୁଲେଙ୍କ ସେ ରାଇଟିଂ that your I am not I am what you think I am, I am not I am what I think I am what you think I am। এটা হচ্ছে লুকিং গ্লাস সেলফ। ଆମର ଇମିଡିଏଟ ଏନଭାୟରମେଣ୍ଟ ବା ଯୋଉ ସିଗ୍ନିଫିକାଣ୍ଟ ଅଦର୍ସ ଏକ ମିରର ଭଳିଆ କାମ କରିଥାନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖିକି ଆମେ ନିଜର ଆମର ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱକୁ ଆମେ ଆକଳନ କରିଥାଉ ଯେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଲୋକେ ଆମ ବାବଦରେ କ'ଣ ଚିନ୍ତା କରୁଛନ୍ତି ତାହା ଆମେ ତାଙ୍କର ସେ ଭ୍ୟୁକୁ ଆମେ ଜାଣିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁ ଏବଂ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଲାଗେ ଯେ ନାହିଁ ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କ ଦୃଷ୍ଟିରେ ମୁଁ ଭଲ, ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଗର୍ବିତ ଅନୁଭବ କରୁ। ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଜାଣିପାରୁ ଯେ ଅନ୍ୟମାନେ ଆମକୁ ଟିକେ ଭଲ ପାଉନାହାନ୍ତି ବା ତାଙ୍କ ଦୃଷ୍ଟିକୋଣରୁ ଆମେ ଠିକ ନୁହଁ, ତାପରେ ଆମେ ଲଜ୍ଜିତ ହଉଛୁ। ସୋ ଆମେ ଆମର ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱକୁ ଆମେ ଆକଳନ କରୁଛୁ ବାଇ ଟେକିଂ ଦ ଅଦର୍ସ ଓପିନିଅନ୍ସ ଭ୍ୟୁ। ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଚିନ୍ତାଧାରା ବା ଆମ ପ୍ରତି ତାଙ୍କର କ'ଣ ଧାରଣା ଅଛି ତାକୁ ଆମେ ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ କରୁଛୁ ଓ ସେଇ ଅନୁସାରେ ଆମେ ନିଜର ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱକୁ ଆକଳନ କରୁଛୁ। that is called your looking glass self. Let's see. C.H. Kulle, the American sociologist, is best known for his concept of the looking glass self theory. Children develop a concept of their selves with the help of others around them. छोट दिन आम आमर आवर सेल्फ को बुझा गोटे छोट छुआटे निजर निजक चिन्हवाई से अन्य मानकर साहाय्य नहीं था, जो मैंने इमिडिएट जो एनवायरनमेंट अच्छा साहाय्य नहीं था। सी और ही forms an idea about oneself based on the opinions of others about him or her. अन्य मानकर दृष्टिकोण निजर व्यक्तित्व को आकलन करे। The kind of social self that develops out of an imagination of how one appears to the other person and the kind of feeling about oneself can be referred to as looking glass self or reflected self. The knowledge about ourselves develop in us through the opinions and reactions of other around this. The social looking glass self consists of these other people through whom we build an image of ourselves. This knowledge about oneself is first obtained from the parents and later it is reformed by the judgment of others. अन्य मानक जजमेंट अनुसार आमे हमर आकलन करिथाउ अन्य माने कोन भाबुचंती आ बाबतरे, अन्य माने केमिति आ व्यक्तित्व को आपसे माने ग्रहण करूचंती बा कोन हम ऊपर तांकर मंतव्य कोन, से अनुसार आमे अन्य मानक जजमेंट अनुसार आमे हमको देखिथाउ एवं चिन्हिथाउ एवं से अनुसार आमे आइदर गर्वित फील करू किबा आमे लज्जित अनुभव करू। एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड योर looking glass self or reflected self theory by C.H. Kulle. The way in which the mirror helps us to form an opinion about ourselves through the clothing we put on our face and figure physique. In a similar manner, we try to imagine how in another person's mind we might appear through our behaviors, manners, and so on. As a result, in our imagination, we form an opinion about ourselves through the other person's perceptions and may get positively or negatively affected by it. ମୁଁ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଟିକେ ଭାଇ କହୁଥିଲି ଯେ ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କ ଓପିନିଅନ ଅନୁସାରେ ଆମେ ଆମକୁ ଆକଳନ କରୁଛୁ, ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ସେଥିରେ ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କର ଆକଳନକୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ପଜିଟିଭ ପାଉଛୁ ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ବହୁତ ଖୁସି ହେଇଯାଉଛୁ, ଆମକୁ ଆମକୁ ଲାଗୁଛି ଯେ we are worthy person, we are being praised by them। କିନ୍ତୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କ ଓପିନିଅନକୁ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ କରୁଛୁ ବା ଦେଖୁଛୁ ଏବଂ ସେଥିରେ ଆମେ ନେଗେଟିଭ ପାଉଛୁ ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଲଜ୍ଜିତ ହଉଛୁ ଯେ ଲୋକେ ମତେ ଭଲ କହୁନାହାନ୍ତି, ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କ ଆଖିରେ ମୁଁ ଏକ ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଏକ ଭଲ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱ ମୁଁ ନୁହେଁ, ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱ ଅଧିକାରୀ ନୁହେଁ, ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଲଜ୍ଜିତ ଅନୁଭବ କରୁଛୁ। ଫର ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ, a child who is in the mood to create some mischief might want to lie to his or her parents. However, before creating the mischief, the child might reflect over and think that if his lie is caught, that will have a bad impression on his or her parents about her or him। ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡେ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷଟା ଆମକୁ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ କରିଥାଏ ଯେ ଆମେ ଯେହେତୁ ନିଜର ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱକୁ ଆକଳନ କରିଥାଉ according to the your other points of view, ତାଙ୍କ ଅନ୍ୟମାନଙ୍କ ଓପିନିଅନ ଅନୁସାରେ ଆମର ଆମେ ଆକଳନ କରିଥାଉ, ତେଣୁ କୌଣସି କାମ କଲା ବେଳକୁ ସେ କଥାକୁ ଆମେ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିଥାଉ ଯାହାକି ଆମକୁ ନିୟନ୍ତ୍ରିତ କରିଥାଏ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡେ ଜିନିଷ ନ କରିବା ପାଇଁ। Again, according to Kule, there are three main features that make up the idea of the self. The first consists of our imagination of how we appear to the other person। प्रथम ଆମେ ଚିନ୍ତା କରୁ ଯେ ଆମ ପ୍ରତି ଲୋକମାନଙ୍କର ଧାରଣା କ'ଣ ପ୍ରଥମେ। Second, the second feature consists of our imaginations of the judgment that the other person make by our appearances। ତାପରେ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଫେଜ ଆମେ କ'ଣ ଲୋକେ ଯାହା ଭାବୁଛନ୍ତି ଆମ ବାବଦରେ ତାକୁ ଆମେ ବିଶ୍ଳେଷଣ କରିଥାଉ ଯେ ସେମାନେ କ'ଣ ଭାବୁଛନ୍ତି। The third feature consists of some feeling of self importance, shame or self doubt based on the imaginations of the other person's judgment about our appearances। ଏବଂ ସେଇଥିରୁ ହିଁ ମୁଁ ଜଷ୍ଟ କହୁଥିଲି ଯେ ଆମେ ଆମର ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱକୁ ନେଇକି ଖୁସି ହେବା କିମ୍ବା ଆମର ସେଲ୍ଫକୁ ନେଇକି ଆମେ ଲଜ୍ଜିତ ହେବା, ତାହା ଡିପେଣ୍ଡ କରିଥାଏ ଦ ଓପିନିଅନ ଅଫ ଅଦର୍ସ and the judgment of the significant others। Then let's see the theory by your Sigmund Freud। ସେ କ'ଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି? The Austrian neurologist and father of psychoanalysis Sigmund Freud believes that socialization demands that individual must do away with their selfish wants for the benefit of the larger society। फ्यूड का मतलब definitely every person, every individual must do away with their selfish wants so that the larger society will be benefited। According to him, socialization is a process that directs one's craving and instincts in ways that are culturally accepted by the society। He has explained the process of socialization through the three distinguishable parts of the personality, that is ID, ego and superego। A ID, ego ଏବଂ ସୁପର ଇଗୋ ଏ ଭିତରେ ଗତି କରେ ଏକ ମଣିଷର ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱ ଏବଂ ଏହାକୁ ବେସ୍ କରିକି ତାର ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ ପ୍ରୋସେସ ମଧ୍ୟ ଗତି କରେ ଏବଂ ତାକୁ ଏଇ ତିନିଟା ଫେଜ୍ ଦେଇ ସେ ଗତି କରୁଛି ଏବଂ ଏଇ ତିନିଟା ଜିନିଷ ଉପରେ ହିଁ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟବେସିତ ହେଉଛି ଯେ ହାଉ ଏ ପର୍ସନ୍ସ ୱିଲ୍ ବି। Let's see what is ID। First of all, the ID consists of all kinds of basic impulses, that is ID, and that are to be avoided so that ତାପରେ ଆମେ କହିପାରିବା ଯେ ଆମେ ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜଡ ହେଲେ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ବେସିକ ଇମ୍ପଲସେସ୍ ଅଛି ତାକୁ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ କରିବା ବହୁତ ଜରୁରୀ so that you can cope up with your social environment। It is the unconscious, selfish, impulsive and illogical part of the personality that always tries to increase the feeling of pleasure by avoiding pain। ଏବଂ ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ଏଇ ବେସିକ ଇମ୍ପଲସେସ୍ ଯାହାକି ଆମକୁ ଏବଂ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଙ୍କ୍ଟ ଯାହାକି ଆମକୁ ପ୍ଲେଜର ଦେଇଥାଏ ଏବଂ ଆମେ ସେଇ ଅନୁସାରେ ଆମେ ବେଳେ ବେଳେ ଆମେ କାମ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିଥାଉ ଯାହାକି socially that may not be approved। ତେଣୁ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷଟାକୁ ଆମକୁ ଦେଖିବାର ଅଛି how to control this ID। The ID tries to make a person work towards achieving the selfish desire by not paying any heed to other individuals or social rules and standards। So this ID has to be controlled। For example, a child craving for a second helping of dessert screamed constantly until she was given another serving। तो सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस रे एई जिनिसटाको तांको जणा जाय एवं so as to avoid this ID। Again, another thing is your ego। The ego is the ego is the referee between the ID and the superego। it tries to maintain a balance between the ID, that is your basic impulses, and the superego, that is norms of the society. এবং এই ইগোটা হচ্ছে the referee which manage this ID between the ID and your superego. The ego tries to regulate our desire and craving and help us to obey the norms of society. এবং এই জিনিসটাকে কনসিয়াস করা যায় from the very early childhood. The ego that you tries to regulate our desires and craving and help us to obey the norms of society. The norms of society, that is your superego. As a referee, the ego tries to control our impulses according to the norms of the society. ତେଣୁ ଏହାକୁ ଡେଭଲପ କରିବା ବହୁତ ଜରୁରୀ. For example, we often get tempted by discount offers in the shopping malls and feel like purchasing as much as we can. However, we restrict ourselves to buying just a few products because we realize that buying everything at once might not be a practical thing to do. এবং এই ইগো কন্ট্ରୋଲ ଉପରେ ପ୍ରପର ଇଗୋ ମ୍ୟାନେଜମେଣ୍ଟ ଯଦି ଜଣେ କରିପାରୁଛି ଆମେ କହିବା ସେ ଜଣେ ଏକ ବ୍ୟାଲେନ୍ସଡ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱ ତାର ଅଛି. Then this process of adjustment among the ID, ego and superego continues throughout the life, and this adjustment is the principal means of socializations. So जो adjustment जो हमें सिखौଛୁ छुआ मानको between this ID, ego and superego, एटा होची मुख्य एक the objective of your socialization process, so as to adjust the principal means of your the ID, ego and superego. Let's see a little bit about your superego. The superego refers to the principles, rules and ethics that one learns through the process of socialization. The superego comprises the norms of society which are internalized through socialization. The superego is the inner voice, or that is called your conscience of the individual, and in that inner voice the hopes, beliefs and guidelines of the society are organized. ତେଣୁ ଆମକୁ ଏ ସୁପର ଇଗୋ କୁ ଇଣ୍ଟରନାଲାଇଜ କରିବା ବହୁତ ଜରୁରୀ ଏବଂ ସେପଟେ ବାଲାନ୍ସ ମେଣ୍ଟେନ କରାହବ ଆଇଡି ଏବଂ ଇଗୋ ଭିତରେ ଏବଂ ଏପଟେ ତମର ସୁପର ଇଗୋ କୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଇଣ୍ଟରନାଲାଇଜ କରାହବ. ତାହେଲେ ଆମେ କହିପାରିବା ଯେ ନାଇଁ ପ୍ରପର ସୋସିଆଲାଇଜେସନ ହେଇପାରୁଛି. ଦେନ୍ ଗୋଟେ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି. ଫର ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ, ରୁଚି was eager to steal some grocery from the store without anyone noticing her, but because she knew that stealing is not the right thing to do, so she did not steal even though she would have never got caught. ଆମେ ଅନେକ ଜାଗାରେ ଆମର କନସିୟସ୍ ଆମେ ହେଇଯାଉଛି ଯେ this is not the proper way of behaving, it is not the expected behavior, so we are controlling ourselves. ଆମେ ସୁପର ଇଗୋ କୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଇଣ୍ଟରନାଲାଇଜ କରୁଛୁ ଆମେ ଅନେକ ଜାଗାରେ ନିଜକୁ ରେଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ କରୁଛୁ so as to not your commit different your deviant behavior in our life. The ID and the superego are always opposed to each other because neither it is always possible to fulfill all our wishes and demands, nor is it easy to keep ourselves completely away from the craving. So ID ଏବଂ superego contrast to each other. ID कहूची जाके हमर बेसिक इंपल्सेस गुड़ाक इंस्टिंक्ट गुड़ाक अनेक जिनस जाके हमको प्लेजर देबो ता हमें करबे पे चेष्टा करछु. एपटे सुपर इगो हमको रेस्ट्रिक्ट करछि. नो, this is not the way of behaving, it is not the expected way of behavior that you should display. You cannot act as per your wishes, you cannot fulfill all the demands, all the wants that you used to have. हमको ए सुपर इगोटा हमको रेस्ट्रिक्ट करूछि so as not to fulfill the demands or wants as per your ID. So this socialization is a must for every children. The adjustment between your ID and your ego, and so as to learn the super ego. तापर देखिबा जे हमर जो सामाजिककरण पद्धति जो चली छै समाज रे, हमें जो एक प्रॉपर ह्यूमन बीइंग को हमें जो बिल्ड अप करूछु फ्रॉम द बायोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनिज्म, को एजेंट्स माने एतरे शामिल अछंती, को मानक माध्यम द्वारा ए सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस ता हेई पारुछि. म आगरु कहतली जे फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग परिवार बा फैमिली जाके हमर ह्यूमन एनवायरनमेंट, इमीडिएट ह्यूमन एनवायरनमेंट ता होचे एक मुख्य एक एजेंट जे कि हमको सामाजिककरण पद्धति रो मूलदुआ हम भीतर पकोछि. तापर अदर एजेंट्स छंती बहुत गुडाय जो माने के हम भीतर इंटरनलाइज करूछंती. मु जस्ट के आगरु कहतली जे अनेक गुडे रिसर्च प्रूफ करिछि जे हमें जो जुवेनाइल डेलिंक्वेंट्स हमें जो देखुछु बा छोट दिन जो अपराध प्रवणता जो छोट छुआ भीतर वृद्धि पाउछि, बहुत छोट छोट दिन बहुत हेनियस क्राइम जो कमिट करछंती छोट छुआ माने, बा ड्रग्स शिकार होउचंती बा अन्यान्य तमर डेविएंट बिहेवियर तांको भीतर जो देखा जाउची ता कोन पई एतरो रिसर्च जना पड़ितला जे जो माने ए सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस रो आसु नाहंती बा समान जो फेज दे गति करबा कथा जो जिनस जो फेज रे शिखबा कथा ता शिक्षा ग्रहण करि पाउनांती तेनु तांको भितरे सेमिता डेविएंट बिहेवियर परिप्रकाश पाउची समस्ते जन्मरु एक बायोलॉजिकल ऑर्गेनिज्म हिसाब रे जन्म नउचंती परवर्ती पर्याय तांकर व्यक्तित्वटा शेप्ड होउची तांकर डेवलपमेंट होउची when they are going through the different process of your socialization जदि सेते सरा तमरा डेविएंट बिहेवियर प्रकाश पाइबा निश्चित द प्रोसेस एबे देखबा जो एजेंट्स माने काम करछंती द एजेंट्स ऑफ योर सोशलाइजेशन जो माने प्रोसेस ऑफ सोशलाइजेशन रे से माने हेल्प करछंती so as to develop so as to internalize different sorts of your rules and regulations prescribed way of behaving and all that the process of socialization is not just limited to the family केवल परिवार ही हमको सामाजिकीकरण पद्धति माध्यम रे हमको अनेक गुडे शिक्षा दोची ता नुहे rather आउरी अनेक गुडे अछंती एजेंट it consists of a range of groups and institutions through which people learn the culture of their society as already mentioned the family is the primary agent of socializations while some of the important secondary agents of socializations include the peer group school and the mass media family रो अलावा हमरा peer group अछंती peer group बोइले जो छोटे छोटे छुआ माने जतले घरु बाहरु चंती तांकर जो इमीडिएट जो जो फ्रेंड सर्कल सृष्टि करचंती ता होची तांकर peer group एमानकर प्रभाव बहुत थाए एक तो मु गोडी सब आउरी कहउ चाहे जे मझिरे गोटे रिसर्च करा हेतला जो जुवेनाइल डेलिंक्वेंट्स मानन को नै कि ये छोट छोट जो बाल अपराधी मानन को नै कि विभिन्न बाल सुधार गृह रु तांको अणाहे कि जले तांको क्वेश्चनर माध्यम रे बा तांको इंटरव्यू माध्यम रे किमा तांको ऑब्जर्व करी कि देखा हेतला जे बहुत गुडे बाल अपराधी से माने एक स्टेबल एक फैमिली रु आसी नांते आइदर पेरेंट्स विल बी डिवोर्स्ड जो ठारे तमरा सोशलाइजेशन ता हैम्पर हेतिबो किंबा से माने आमे जब स्ट्रीट चिल्ड्रन जो माने कि जो माने कि टोटली ऑर्फन थिबे सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस दे गति कर नथिबे तो एमिते अनेक गुडे फैक्टर्स काम करथाय एवं सेथरो प्रूव हेतै जे सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस सने आसी नथिबे ए एजेंट्स मानक संसोषण आसी नथिबे तो डेफिनेटली द डेविएंट बिहेवियर विल कम अप again let's see the role of the family parents along with the family are the most important agents of socialization within the family it is the mother who first begins to socialize the child socializations in basic values such as love affection manners and your etiquettes are first taught in the family in a joint family apart from the parents uncle aunts grandparents also play important role to socialize the children children learn their language and develop their speaking abilities in the family regional and class differences of the family into which one is born affect the socialization pattern in different way as a result of which children from different cultural backgrounds grow up with different values attitude and beliefs the situation within the family whether affectionate or disturbed will affect the growth of child accordingly एबे जस्ट कि मु जो कहतली जे परिवार रे पिता माता रो को अलावा there are some other your members like your uncle aunt the elder brothers sisters सेही माने अनेक गुडे शिक्षा दउचंती एवं सेटु ही तुम्हारा मूलदुआ पडुची व्यक्तित्व विकास रो एवं जदि गुटे स्टेबल फैमिली नै ऑर्गेनाइज्ड फैमिली नै जदि डिसऑर्गेनाइज्ड फैमिली किबा डिवोर्स्ड जदि पेरेंट असंती से जारे यहा बहुत बैडली तार नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट पकई थाए पिला मानकर प्रॉपर सोशलाइजेशन सही पारे नै एवं तांकर व्यक्तित्व विकास हेई पारे नै तेणु the children and adolescents whose families provide stable supportive environment seems to be an advantage over those in more chaotic home situations they further attest that factors such as your physical resources high quality parenting favorable family your climate reasonable stability and supportive extra familial social networks are important resources for socialization तो ये सब गुडा को एक कंडीशिप एनवायरनमेंट प्रदान करिथांती एक व्यक्तित्व विकास पाई तापर सेकंड एजेंट जे कि एक इंपोर्टेंट रोल प्ले करिथाय फॉर सोशलाइजेशन दैट इज कॉल्ड योर पीयर ग्रुप peer group ଆମେ ମୁଁ କହୁଥିଲି ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ଛୁଆ ଛୋଟ ଛୁଆ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଚାଲିବା ଶିଖୁଛି ଟିକେ ବଡ ହେଇଯାଉଛି ସେ ବାହାରକୁ ବାହାରୁଛି ତା ସହିତ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡିଏ ପାଖ ଆଖର ଛୋଟ ଛୋଟ ଛୁଆ ତା ଏଜ ଗ୍ରୁପ ର ସେମାନେ ସାଙ୍ଗ ହଉଛନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ସାଙ୍ଗ ହେଇକି ଦେ କନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ ଦ ପିୟର ଗ୍ରୁପ ଏବଂ ଏ ପିୟର ଗ୍ରୁପ ର ଏକ ଏକ ପଜିଟିଭ ଇମ୍ପାକ୍ଟ ଏକ ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ଥାଏ ଛୁଆ ମାନଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ତେଣୁ ଛୋଟ ଦିନର ଛୁଆ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦିଆଯାଏ କାହା ସହିତ ମିଶିବେ କାହା ସହିତ ମିଶିବେ ନାହିଁ କାହା ସହିତ ସାଙ୍ଗ ହେବେ କାହା ସହିତ ସାଙ୍ଗ ହେବେ ନାହିଁ କାରଣ ସେଇମାନେ ଏକ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ରୋଲ ପ୍ଲେ କରିଥାନ୍ତି ଏଇ ଇମିଡିଏଟ ଯୋଉ ପିୟର ଗ୍ରୁପ ୟାର ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱକୁ ବିକଶିତ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ୟାକୁ ସେଭ କରି ଦେବା ପାଇଁ so peer groups usually consist of friends who are of the same age they share a mutual sense of understanding and cooperation with each other and also consider each of them as equals initially peer groups are formed in the neighborhood or the housing community where the children live when children are young they usually begin by making friends with children of similar gender এই জিনিস গুড়াক সমস্ত সব প্যারেন্টস জাঁয়া উচিত যে হাউ will socialize, how we will internalize all the expected behavior pattern within the children so that পরবর্তী সময়ে তার এক ভালো ব্যক্তিত্ব বিকাশ হয়ে পারিব এবং তাহা স্টার্ট হব ফ্রম দ ফ্যামিলি চাইল্ড আউট স্টার্ট হব এবং তা ফ্যামিলি রু বিলিং তমর বিগিন হব সেতপে কোয়া যায় যে ফ্যামিলি ইজ দ ফার্স্ট স্কুল এন্ড দ মদর ইজ দ ফার্স্ট টিচর তারপরে সেকেন্ড ইম্পর্টেন্ট হচ্ছেন এই পিয়র গ্রুপ বা সাঙ্গ সাথীর যে গ্রুপ সে ইমিডিয়েটলি পাউছি যেতে ঘর বাহারକୁ সে আসুছি তাহা ତାକୁ ଏକ ବହୁତ ବଡ ଏକ ପ୍ରଭାବରେ ଆଣୁଛି ପ୍ରଭାବିତ କରୁଛି ତାର ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିତ୍ୱର ବିକାଶ ପାଇଁ so the peer groups are formed in the neighborhood or the housing community where the children live when the children are young they usually begin by making friends with children of similar gender as a result peer groups exert a significant influence gender socialization ଏବଂ ଯେହେତୁ ସେ ନିଜ ଜେଣ୍ଡର ବା ନିଜ ମେଲ या ଫିମେଲ ଲାଇନରେ ସେ फ्रेंडशिप करूची तो फ्रॉम द वेरी अर्ली चाइल्डहुड ए पीयर ग्रुप ही थारे ही तुम जेंडर सोशलाइजेशन हो जाए जेंडर कॉन्शियसनेस तांका भीतर डेवलप करता है once children enter the school their peer group become diverse children who become part of peer groups are usually seen spending more time with their friends than with family members the influence of peer groups continues throughout life এবং এই পিयर গ্रुप ର ତାର जो influence ଟା throughout life पर्यंत प्रभावित करता है throughout life from the neighborhood to education institution to workplace and so on ତେଣୁ ଏଥିପାଇଁ from the very early childhood ଆମେ accordingly ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଏକ ଭଲ ଏକ ମାହୋଲ ସୃଷ୍ଟି କରିବା ଉଚିତ ଏକ ଭଲ ଫ୍ରେଣ୍ଡ ସାର୍କେଲ ତାକୁ ଯଦି ଦେଇ ପାରିବେ ବା ସେ କେମିତିଆ ସେମାନଙ୍କ ସହିତ ସେ ଏଟାଇ ପାରିବ ତାହା ହେଉଛି important according to your Bukowski even after face-to-face interactions have come to an end peers can maintain their contact with each other through 20th and 21st century forms of media starting during the preschool year which many children spend their days in daycare center experiences with peers can make up a large part of child's daily life these experiences can be source of your companionship stimulation information help reward security joy at times frustrations and harm तो ये peer group रू बहुत किसी शिक्षा करता है को छोटा छुआ तापरे नेक्स्ट होची अन्य एक एजेंट जे कि एक भला व्यक्तित्व विकास करबे सहायता करूची apart from family peer group that is called your school is an important agent जे कि सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस को त्वरान्वित करिथाय एक छोटा छुआ को विकसित करबा पय से ये करिथाय तो एक प्रॉपर स्कूल एवं से स्कूल रे एक कंडीसिव एनवायरनमेंट प्रॉपर योर लर्निंग टीचिंग एटा जदि हे पारला टू वे मेथड रे ताले एक भलो एक व्यक्तित्व विकास करा जाय पारिबो the school is known to be the first formal agent of socialization which shapes the ideas and attitude of a child children learn to maintain certain decorum in the class they learn to obey rules of discipline in the school and be diligent in learning the lessons that are taught in class the children are expected to listen to their teachers and accept their authority at times teachers reactions also have positive or negative implications on the children the school is not only responsible for formally training the child in reading writing and arithmetic but it also helps to develop critical thinking abilities Broadly speaking, the school helps in overall development of the child and in the diffusion of culture, the society. The role of the teacher becomes very important within such a setting. Overall, the role of the school can be attributed as equally important with respect to the family when it comes to socializations of the children. A recent popular film Hindi medium might have you seen the movie Hindi medium. एथिरे एको better way रे present कराहेछि the role of the your school in the process of your socialization. Then another your important your agent in the your present context in India and everywhere, that is your mass and media. Mass and media like radio, television, mobile, जो इंटरनेट जहाँ भी किसी यहाँ बहु मात्रा प्रभावित करुच्ची छुआ मान व्यक्तित्व विकास दिगरे एवं इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले करुच्ची ए मास एंड मीडिया से पिला माननकु वर्तमान यह एक बड़ चैलेंज हो गलानी फॉर द पेरेंट्स जे केमितिया पिला माननकु ए मास एंड मीडिया रो पॉजिटिव इंपैक्ट पड़ू नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट न पड़ू कारण किंतु इन रियलिटी देखिया को मिलची वर्तमान कॉन्टेक्स्ट रे जे द वाइड यूज ऑफ योर मोबाइल सेल फोन एंड अदर योर मीन्स ऑफ योर डिवाइसेस जोटा कि तांको इन्फॉर्मेशंस एवं एंटरटेनमेंट एवं किछिरा एजुकेशन जो प्रोवाइड करजंती तार पॉजिटिव दिग अपेक्षा नेगेटिव दिग बहुत अछि तेणु याको बेटर वे रे वाइजर वे रे जदी यूज न करा हुए ता एक डिस्ट्रक्टिव एक जनरेशन सृष्टि करिवार संभावना अछि. So mass media important role play in the process of socialization. How? Let's see. Mass media includes various agents of communications, for instance, the radio, television, newspaper, magazines, media portals, and websites, and the like. In this age of electronic media, children are provided with a variety of new learning opportunities, which broaden the range of events children experience. As a consequence, it is witnessed that socialization is no longer primarily or secondarily dependent to the influences of family, peers, or other such agencies. Further, our contemporary social realities and myths are given a visual as well as a narrative form through this media. And in this respect, the modern social media illustrate how the medium shapes the message. ଯେମିତି कि Facebook's architecture, which encourages various presentations of taste, identity, and popularity assessment, structuring both the form and content of the your communication. तो बहुत बड़ा मेजर रोल प्ले करे तेणु यहाँ को भावी चिंती करी केमितिया यार एक पॉजिटिव इंपैक्ट पड़िबो पिला मानक माइट बी सीन जे ऑलमोस्ट सबु घरे वर्तमान एडिक्शन टुवर्ड्स योर मोबाइल किमा एडिक्शन टुवर्ड्स योर टेलीविजन बीइंग या एमतिया हे गलानी जहाँ की डिस्ट्रैक्ट करूची पिला माने फोकस करि पर नंती तांका करियर को नेकी फ्रॉम जुआड़े देखिबो डिफरेंट सॉर्ट्स ऑफ गेम्स जो पबजी और अदर योर रेसिंग गेम्स अदर योर व्हाट इज दैट मिशन वाला जो गेम छुआ खेलुचंती जहाँ की एक वायलेंट ये गुड़ा का होची WWF तो ए जिनस गुड़ा का कुप्रभाव अनेक मात्रा रहउची जदियो आमे सेहितरे गूगल ये रे आमे अनेक गुडी जिनस देखि परिबे अनेक गुडी जिनस सिखि परिबे यूट्यूब रे अनेक गुडी सर्च करि आमे पाठ पढि परिबे किंतु सही प्रकार न हे कि तार नेगेटिव इंपैक्ट बहु मात्रा रे रहउची छुआ मानक ऊपर जहाँ की प्रत्येक पेरेंट्स बा प्रत्येक फैमिली रे तापर ध्यान देबा बहुत जरूरी. तो फ्रॉम द वेरी अर्ली चाइल्डहुड टू एतपई पेरेंट्स दायी बोली कहा जिवो सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस जदी बेटर हे पारला नै एतपई फादर बापा मा निश्चय दायी जदी प्रॉपर सोशलाइजेशन तांकर हे पारला नै कारण फ्रॉम द वेरी अर्ली चाइल्डहुड आमे केमितिया से माने टीवी प्रति एडिक्टेड हेबे नै कि मास माने मोबाइल प्रति एडिक्टेड हेबे नै ताहा देखबा बहुत जरूरी. किंतु हमरा वर्तमान लाइफ रे पेरेंट्स एते बिजी हे गलेनी तांको काम को नै कि से माने कहउचंते हां बाबू तू बसी के खेलु था मोबाइल मोटे काम करूची ना आमे टिके बाहर को जाउछु तू टीवी देखुता तो सेमान को एंगेज करबा पय सने केमिति हमकु डिस्टर्ब करिवे नै आमे सेमान को अनेक गुडी अपॉर्चुनिटीज तांको प्रोवाइड आमे कर दोछु सो दैट सेमान से गुडा को जिंस रे सने इन्वॉल्व हेबे जाके परवर्ती पर्याय रे सने एते एडिक्टेड हे जिवे एवं एते घेस्टली जंक गुडा को सने ताकू पी जिवे बा सिखि जिवे जाके परवर्ती पर्याय तांको से जिंस को हमकु हटेबा पय प्रॉब्लम हे जिवो. आपण माने सुनिते विभिन्न संवाद रे बा विभिन्न तुम न्यूज पेपर मान आसुची अनेक गुड़े जो हेनियस जो क्राइम जो कमिट करछंती छोट छोट छुआ माने बा अन्य अन्य एडल्टहुड स्टेज रे जहा कि से प्रेरित होइछंती फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सिनेमा फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सीरियल्स फ्रॉम द डिफरेंट योर वेब सीरीज रु से प्रभावित होइछंती बोली खबर आसुची तेणु मास मीडिया रो एक बहुत बड़ एक प्रभाव रोचे पिला मानकर मानसिक वृद्धि अदर योर पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट रे over the years television has become the greatest source of influence especially for children when compared to the other tools of communication there are different kinds of programs that are available on the television ranging from your serials movies cartoons to news music fashion food history and geography that cater to people belonging to different age groups. However, your Protect argues that violent media exposure is a casual risk factor for aggressions. Television program for children, especially cartoons, portray high level of violent acts and episodes of different types. जाके मुझे just के अगर कहूतले हमको जगिबार अच्छी देखिबार अच्छी जे which type of programs they are watching कारण यार डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट रोची तांकर पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट रे ସେମାନେ ଭାଇଲେଣ୍ଟ ଜିନିଷ ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କର ଆଜିକାଲି ମାର୍କ କରୁଥିବେ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଯେ ଆଜିକାଲିର ଜେନେରେସନ୍ସ ର ଛୁଆ ମାନେ ବେଶୀ ରିଏକ୍ଟିଭ ସେମାନେ ସବମିସିଭ ହେଉନାହାନ୍ତି ବା ଯୋଉ ପ୍ୟାରେଣ୍ଟସ୍ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଯୋଉ ୱେରେ ସେମାନେ ବିହେଭ କରିବା କଥା ବା ଏଲ୍ଡର୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଯୋଉ ହିସାବରେ ବିହେଭ କରିବା କଥା ସେମାନେ କରୁନାହାନ୍ତି ଏକ ଏଗ୍ରେସିଭ ବିହେଭିୟର ରାସ୍ତାରେ କଥା କଥା ଛୋଟ ଛୋଟ କଥାରେ ତାଙ୍କର ଏଗ୍ରେସନ ଦେଖିବାକୁ ମିଳୁଛି ମାରପିଟ ହେବା କିମ୍ବା ଏଡିକ୍ସନ୍ସ ଦେଖାଯାଉଛି ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଟୁ ଡ୍ରଗ୍ସ ଆଣ୍ଡ ୟୋର ସ୍ମୋକିଂ then other sorts of your you can say the other activities those are not prescribed by the society. Then although children might remain passive to such depictions of violence yet this can affect them in the form of nightmares and or feelings of uncertainty and fear. Apart from this certain forms of music films or even violent video games may have such attributes. For example, racing video games such as your Need for Speed, Burnout, and Road Race, which can be rewarding for players, can be cause for reckless or violent driving. तो यार नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट बहुत अच्छी मास मीडिया रो सो यहाँ को जदि आमे जदि प्रॉपर्ली चैनलाइज करि पारबे ताले एक भलो एक एजेंट हे पारिबो इन द सोशलाइजेशन प्रोसेस. Now we'll see how society functions. समाज काम करे केमितिया समाज अनेक गुड़े कंपोनेंट्स को लेकिन गठित व्यक्ति विशेष एथरे इन्वॉल्व अछंती एवं समाज को गतिशील करबा पई स्मूथ फंक्शनिंग ऑफ द सोसाइटी अनेक गुड़े फैक्टर्स अछंती जो माने कि पॉजिटिवली कंट्रीब्यूट करचंती एवं समाज ता तिष्ठि रहउची एज लाइक योर ऑर्गेनिज्म जेमिति गुड़े गछ को निया जाऊ गछर प्रत्येक पार्ट्स तार आमे कहबा चेर हो बा तांकर शाखा प्रशाखा हुंतु पत्र हो ए माने तांकर डिस्टिंक्टिव रोल रहउची टू प्ले एवं तांकर रोल को से प्रॉपर्ली प्ले करचंती एवं गछ बंची की रहउची हमर एक ह्यूमन बीइंग को निया जाऊ हमर ऑल द बॉडी पार्ट्स दे आर वर्किंग कोऑर्डिनेटिंग विथ ईच अदर आमे बंची की रहउची एज लाइक ए लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म सोसाइटी मध्ये अनेक गुड़े पार्ट्स अछंती अनेक गुड़े इंस्टीट्यूशंस अछंती अनेक गुड़े सिस्टम्स अछंती जो माने कि काम करचंती कोऑर्डिनेटिंग ईच अदर एवं सोसाइटी रो स्मूथ फंक्शनिंग हे पाउची सेही संबंध टिके डिस्कस करबा आ तापरे हमें सोशल कंट्रोल एवं चेंज संबंध आरंभ करबे. सो मु जो कथा एबे जस्ट कहतली जे सोसाइटी काम करूची केमितिया एक्जिस्टेंस ऑफ द सोसाइटी एवं या को प्रॉपर्ली हमें एनालिसिस करथाऊ थ्रू द योर दिस थ्योरी ऑफ योर फंक्शनलिज्म केवल फंक्शनलिज्म संबंध मु टिके डिस्कस करके तापरे अन्यटा डिस्कस करबा. फंक्शनलिज्म इज द नेम ऑफ एन अप्रोच in social anthropology and sociology according to which a society is whole of interconnected parts. ये चेष्टा करंतु society is a whole of interconnected parts where each part contributes to the maintenance of the whole. The task of sociology is to find out the contribution of each part of society and how society works together as an ordered arrangement of parts. याको बुझिबा बहुत जरूरी सोशियोलॉजी माध्यम रे हमें बुझी पारिबे द पार्ट्स ऑफ द सोशियोलॉजी दोज आर कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टुवर्ड द एक्जिस्टेंस ऑफ सोसाइटी टुवर्ड द स्मूथ फंक्शनिंग ऑफ द सोसाइटी. At the same time, function is a multi-meaning and multi-usage term. Perhaps the major difficulty associated with the general concept of function has been the use of a single term to cover several distinctly different your reference or referents. Let's see the your what is that the theory of your functionalism. According to Auguste Comte, the methods for the study of society come from natural or biological sciences. The aim of the study is to discover the laws of evolution as well as the laws of functioning of society. That is, how has the society evolved with the passage of time, and what are the various stages of through which it has passed, and how does the society function at a particular point of time. This is the your what is that theory by your Auguste Comte. Now see the your view of Durkheim. According to Durkheim, who is keenly interested in defining the subject matter of sociology as distinct from that of your philosophy or biology. According to him, sociology is a comparative and an objective study of social facts, which are the ways of thinking, acting, and feeling that have the noteworthy property of existing outside the individual consciousness. This is the view of your Emile Durkheim regarding the functioning of your society. It is the your scientific study of social facts, according to him. Social facts do not originate in the individual but in the your collectivity, in the collective mind. Because they exist outside the individual, they can be studied in the same way as one studies the material objects. Social facts are things perceived objectively and outside the individual. So that can be studied easily, and by that we can have a thorough understanding of the society as a whole. Durkheim's definitions of functions has tremendously influenced the writings of the later functionalist, both in your social anthropology and also sociology also. According to him, function is the contributions a part makes to the whole for its maintenance and well-being. Thus, function is a positive contribution. It is inherently good for society, for it ensures its continuity and healthy maintenance. This is the your what is that the view of your Emile Durkheim on your positivism and functionalism. According to your functionalism, it seems that all functionalists share the following 5 propositions. केवल 5 propositions टा कहि कि मो अन्य को स्विच ओवर करिवि. कोन सेटा जे society or culture is a system like any other system, such as solar system or organic system. As a system, society or culture consists of parts like institutions, groups, role, associations, organizations, which are interconnected, interrelated, and interdependent. Next, each part performs its own function. ମୁଁ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଟିକେ ଆଗରୁ କହୁଥିଲି ଯେମିତିଆ ଗୋଟେ ଗଛ ବଞ୍ଚିବା ପାଇଁ ବା ଗୋଟେ ମଣିଷର अस्तित्व ପାଇଁ different parts ମାନଙ୍କର positive contributions ନିହାତି ଜରୁରୀ. As like society ରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଯୋଉ parts ଅଛନ୍ତି like your different your what is that institutions, groups, associations, organizations, they used to contribute a lot for the existence of society. Each part performs its own function. It makes its own contribution to the whole society or culture, and also it functions in relationship with other parts. Then a change in one part brings about a change in other parts, or at least influences the functioning of other parts, because all the parts are closely connected. The entire society or culture for which you can use the term whole is greater than the mere summations of parts. It cannot be reduced to any part, or not part can explain the whole. A society or culture has its own identity, its own consciousness, or in Durkheim words, that is your collective consciousness. and thus, according to your functionalism, a society exists and works smoothly. Another important your concept that is to be discussed in this your session, that is called your social control and change. Social control and change. सामाजिक नियंत्रण एवं सामाजिक परिवर्तन या अन्य एक दिग जहाँ आम डिस्कस करेंगे यही सेशन रे सोशल कंट्रोल इनो आमे पशु मानकटू भिन्न को दृष्टिकोण आम सब पशु मानकटू भिन्न आम भितरे पशु मानक भलिया अनेक गुड़े प्रवृत्ति बा अनेक गुड़े गुण अच्छी जहाँकि हुए तो गुण तो कहने रादर प्रवृत्ति जहाँकि इट इज एज ऑल इक्वल विथ योर एनिमल्स एवं आमर ए बेसिक इंस्टिंक्ट इम्पल्सेस गुड़ा को जहाँकि आम पशु सहित तुल्य ताहाको आम चरितार्थ करने पूरा करने चेष्टा कि नो आम कर आम डिसिप्लिन वे रे प्रेस्क्राइब मैनर्स प्रेस्क्राइब वे रे आम ताकू कर जहाँकि आमको पशु ठारू अलगा करे अदरवाइज आम हूँ एक सामाजिक पशु तो आम जो आम भीतर जो पशुत्व किसी मात्रा अच्छी यहाँ को नियंत्रित करने बहुत जरूरी एवं दिस इज कॉल्ड योर सोशल कंट्रोल एवं सोशल कंट्रोल हम केमती कराई आमको जदि बेले बेले मार्क कर देखुए आपण आखे पाखे विभिन्न गणमाध्यम अन्य ये जे मनुष्य मैंने एमती किसी कार्य कर जाती जहाँकि पशु मैंने करने डरवे मनुष्य मैंने एमती किसी कार्य कर जहाँकि अनएक्सपेक्टेड थाए जहाँकि पशु मैंने बोधे सेमतिया काम करने चाहिए ना बहुत डेंजरस एक स्पेसीज कह जदि रेगुलेटेड और कंट्रोल कराला ना तेणु सोशल कंट्रोल बहुत जरूरी सो एज टू रेगुलेट द बिहेवियर ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल्स आमे जदि गोटे पशु को एवं गोटे मनीष को आमे कहबे जे गोटे दिन को पाई दुई जन को पूरा फ्री छाड़ी दिया गला आपण जहाँ करंतु कहीं ना पुलिस पब्लिक किए किसी करेंगे ना ताले मनीष एमतिया किसी करा पशुटू आहरी जघन्य हो पारे फॉर दैट सोशल कंट्रोल इज नीडेड एवं समाज रे ए सोशल कंट्रोल होउची केमितिया केमितिया आमे नियंत्रित होउची आमे केमितिया हमर बेसिक इंस्टिंक्ट बेसिक इंपल्सेस को आमे हमर वांट्स को आमे कंट्रोल करूची तापे अनेक गुडे एजेंट्स मध्ये काम करजंती तो देखिबा द डिटेल्स ऑफ योर सोशल कंट्रोल social control is a central concept in sociology all of us are expected to behave in a certain way एक सामाजिक पशु हिसाब रे आमे जेहेतु समाज रे रहूछु आमे समाज रे रहबा पई आमको एक एक्सपेक्टेड वे रे बिहेव करबा बहुत जरूरी एक प्रेस्क्राइब्ड वे प्रेस्क्राइब्ड नॉर्म्स को माने कि आमे बिहेव करबा बहुत जरूरी अदरवाइज आमे समाज नहेले आमे समाज द्वारा ग्रहणीय हेबे नाही It ranges from how to eat to giving respect to our elders to driving to the left side on the road and to obey the laws of the land. एते गुडा जिंस अछि रेंज अछि जोटा के हम मानि पाबे बाध्य to live in the society. The very basic idea behind the very basic idea behind following certain desired rules is to make collective social life possible. याद्रा कलेक्टिव सोशल लाइफ पॉसिबल होता है जदि एक समस्त जदि कंट्रोल है कि सोशल नॉर्म्स एवं आइडियल्स एवं जदि कस्टम ट्रेडिशंस द्वारा परिचालित हेबे नै ताले एक एक हम कलेक्टिव योर सोशल लाइफ पॉसिबल करि परबे नै कम्युनिटी लाइफ इज पॉसिबल ओनली इन द कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ सोशल कंस्ट्रेंट एज सोशल लिविंग डिमांड सैक्रिफाइस ऑफ इंडिविजुअल इंटरेस्ट एवं समस्त जदि बेसिक इंपल्सेस को पूरा करबा पय आरंभ कर देबे समस्त बेसिक इंटरेस्ट को पूरा करबा पय आरंभ कर देबे एक केओस एक केओटिक एक एनवायरनमेंट ये कहि पारे एक भारसाम्य हरै बसेबो एक सामाजिक संतुलन बिगड़ी जिवो तेणु सोशल कंट्रोल इज ए मस्ट इन दिस योर कॉन्टेक्स्ट in order to function smoothly and efficiently, society makes certain rules and regulations and expect that its members will follow. ତେଣୁ ସାମାଜିକ ନିୟନ୍ତ୍ରଣ ଆଣିବା ପାଇଁ ସମାଜ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡ଼ିଏ ନୀତି ନିୟମ ସୃଷ୍ଟି କରିଛନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ସମାଜ ଚାହୁଁଛି ଯେ ଏହି ନୀତି ନିୟମକୁ ସମସ୍ତେ ଫଲୋ କରନ୍ତୁ, ସମସ୍ତେ ମାନନ୍ତୁ, ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଏକ ସ୍ମୁଥ ସୋସିଆଲ ଲାଇଫ ହେଇପାରିବ ଏବଂ ଏକ ସୋସିଆଲ ଅର୍ଡର ମେଣ୍ଟେନ୍ ହେଇପାରିବ. Social institutions such as family, school, religious institutions, and media are some of the agents that reinforce and maintain these rules. ଆମର ଯୋଉ ସାମାଜିକ ନୀତି ନିୟମ ଗୁଡାକ ଅଛି, ଯୋଉ ପ୍ରେସ୍କ୍ରାଇବ୍ ୱେ ଅଫ୍ ବିହେଭିଂ ଅଛି, ଏଇ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକ ତୁମର ଅନ୍ୟ ମେମ୍ବର୍ସଙ୍କୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଦିଆଯାଇଥାଏ through family, through schools, through different your organizations, reinforce କରାଯାଇଥାଏ ଏବଂ internalize କରାଯାଇଥାଏ so that the people following these rules, they can maintain the discipline while interacting with the people or so as to fulfill different needs. Many sanctions are not applied directly but only by embedding certain values in the socialized person. Thus, most people conform not because of fear but because they are internally conditioned to do so. In the most fundamental sense of social control refers to the capacity of a society to regulate itself according to desired principles and values. The social control is a must for everyone in the society so as to achieve your desired goals in a prescribed way. Let's see some of the definition of your social control. The purpose of social control is, as the term indicates, is to exercise control over people in an effective manner. That is social control. सामाजिक नियंत्रण कौन जे आमे we are exercising control over people in an effective manner, conforming or behaving in accordance with the norms of society is referred to as your conformity. In fact, in a modern complex society, social order can be achieved by making the people to accept and follow certain specified group norms. आमे जो collective जो एक group norms आमे सृष्टि करिचे, prescribed way of behaving, prescribed एक behavior pattern सृष्टि करिचे, that is to be followed so that proper social order maintained ହେଇ पारिबो ଏବଂ discipline way रे आमे हमर goals को आमे achieve करि पारिबे. By maintaining solidarity and stability among the members, society ensures its continuity. As a result, the means of social control does not remain external to individual but are followed unconsciously too and becomes the larger part of culture and get transmitted from one generation to another. ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଏହି ସାମାଜିକ ନିୟମ ଗୁଡ଼ିକୁ ନିଜ ଜୀବନର ଏକ ଅଂଶ ହିସାବରେ ଆମେ ପୁରା ଜୀବନ ସାରା ଆମେ ମାନି ଚଲୁ, ତାହା ଆମର ଜୀବନର ପରିଧି ଭିତରେ ତାହା ଆମର ପ୍ରଥା ପରମ୍ପରା ଭଳିଆ ତମର ସାମିଲ ହେଇଯାଏ ଏବଂ ତାକୁ ଆମେ ଗ୍ରହଣ କରିକି ଶିକ୍ଷା କରିକି ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଗୋଟେ ଜେନେରେସନ ଟୁ ଅନ୍ୟ ଜେନେରେସନ କୁ ଆମେ ପାର୍କୁଲେଟ କରିଥାଉ so that ଏହା ପ୍ରପରଲି ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସମିଟେଡ ହେବ ଏବଂ ଏକ ହେଲ୍ଦି ଏକ ଜେନେରେସନ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେବେ ଯାହାକି ଏକ ସ୍ମୁଥ ଫଙ୍କସନିଂ ଅଫ ସୋସାଇଟି ପାଇଁ ସାହାଯ୍ୟ କରିବ. And this is how a social order is maintained. It delimits the chances of chaos and confusion in the functioning of society. Therefore, social control is a necessary component of social order. According to your Ross, social control as a system of devices whereby society bring its member into conformity with the accepted standard of behavior. सामाजिक नियंत्रण माध्यम रे आमे लोकन को शिक्षा देई थाउ what are the your prescribed way of behaving, the standard of behavior कोन अछि जाको हम मानि कि चलिबे ताको सब बेले in every situations while our in your different context रे or whether हमरा wants को fulfill कला बेले को definitely expected way of behavior pattern को हमें display करिबे. Others like Akbar also have said that social control refers to the patterns of pressure which society exerts to maintain order and establish rules. Through social control, through social norms, social your rules and regulations, आमे एक pressure build up करूछु मनुष्य ऊपर जे समाने expected way रे behave करिवे. Otherwise केमती होंता जदि social control न थांता एक पशु मान को भलिया हम भितरे मध्ये बाडिया पिटा तमर एक गोटे गजब परिस्थिति सृष्टि होंता और समानक भितरे हम भितरे कोनसे दूरता रहंता नहीं. Society exercises some kind of influence on the behavior of the individual. The influence may be exercised by means of public opinion, religion, morality, ideology, or by coercion. एही मानक यही माध्यम रे आम लोक बिल्डअप कर प्रेसर को हिसाब रे पब्लिक ओपिनियन रिलीजियन मोरालिटी आइडियोलॉजी बा जदि ये सब ना बल प्रयोग करें आम एक सामाजिक नियंत्रण आम आनी था समाज रे so that people will be regulated their behavior pattern will be regulated they will act accordingly the prescribed way of behaving then it may be the influence over all members of society or influence of a dominant group over smaller groups or individuals so it's your social control let's see types of social control आम केमतिया करथां केते प्रकार सोशल कंट्रोल अछि आम लोक नियंत्रण करने एक तो केतेटा एकदम पूरा सामाजिक नीति नियम सृष्टि करूँ जहाँ को आम मानिया बाध्य बोली कहूँ सेटा गुड़ा करछंती तापरे किछिटा एवं से नियम न मानले तुम पनिशमेंट तुम इनवाइट करूछ आउ केतेटा आम नीति नियम अछि जहाँ को आम मानुछु ताकू जदि आम जदि न मानले आम निंदित हेबे केवल पनिष्ड हेबे नाही अनेक प्रकार सोशल कंट्रोल अछि लेट्स सी द टाइप्स ऑफ सोशल कंट्रोल तापरे लेट्स सी society exercises its control on the behavior of individual or group in many ways बहुत प्रकार से लोक मान को नियंत्रित करता है समाज the nature of social control is also dependent on the social situation and the nature of social goals in some simpler societies some form of beliefs and customs exercise enough control to act as a social pressure on individual or groups आम मार्क करते अनेक समय आम कौन से काम कर न था यही भावना रे आमको समाज कौन कहब आमको लोके कौन कहबे एटा हूँ प्रेसर आम उपर आउ केतेटा काम आम करने पछघुंचा दौचु ताहा जदि करेंगे ताहले आम पनिष्ड हेबे आम अनेक गुड़े काम आम करूना आम कहूँ जे यह प्रथा परंपरार विरुद्धाचरण करुछि तो एटा होचंती से पर्टिकुलर दे आर एक्जेक्टिंग द प्रेशर ऑन द ह्यूमन बीइंग so as to give away that particular way of behaving or to commit that particular work in rural society long established your traditions and beliefs have significant your influence on the behavior of the individual or group however it does differ in modern industrial urban society आमर मार्क करते आमर ग्रामांचल मानक अनेक गुड़े प्रथा परंपरा अच्छी अनेक गुड़े नीति नियम अच्छी जहाँकि आमको अनेक मात्रा आमको कंट्रोल करें आम नियंत्रित होता जहाँकि से गुड़क जिन प्रायतः अर्बान सेटअप रे देखा मिल न था हाउएवर इट डज डिफर इन द मॉडर्न इंडस्ट्रियल अर्बन सोसाइटी हियर मॉडर्न मीन्स लाइक योर रेडियो टेलीविजन स्कूल एंड लॉज वर्क मोर इफेक्टिवली फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ कंट्रोलिंग बिहेवियर ऑफ मेंबर्स ऑफ सोसाइटी ग्रामांचल मानक प्रथा परंपरा आमको कंट्रोल करथला बेले एठी शहर रे आमे आमको विभिन्न जो मास मीडिया अछंती लाइक रेडियो टेलीविजन तापर अदर एजेंट्स लाइक स्कूल लॉज एमन सब अछंती जो माने कि आमको कंट्रोल करछंती इन ए वे फॉर्मल एंड इनफॉर्मल रिप्रेजेंट्स टू टाइप्स ऑफ मींस टू हैव इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन द योर मेंबर ऑफ सोसाइटी लेट्स सी व्हाट इज दिस योर फॉर्मल कंट्रोल एंड योर इनफॉर्मल कंट्रोल फॉर्मल कंट्रोल बेले कोन Formal control is exercised by some institutionalized organizations or associations characterized by a formal authority like government which makes laws and legislations control. यह हूँ एक पूरा सिद्ध केतरा नीति नियम जहाँकि एक विभिन्न इंस्टीट्यूशंस माध्यम रे चैनलाइज करा होची जहाँकि आम मानिबा पय बाध्य होचु एवं आमर व्यवहार को आम नियंत्रित करूछु आमर एक एक्सपेक्टेड वे ऑफ बिहेवियर को आम डिस्प्ले करा पय बाध्य होचु इनफॉर्मल टा कौन इनफॉर्मल कंट्रोल इज मेनली एक्सरसाइज बाय अनरिटन रूल्स या द्वारा इनफॉर्मल रे हमको जदि से कामटा आम न करूछु बा आम से भाबे जदि आम हमर बिहेवियर को आम डिस्प्ले न करूछु ताले हमको कोन से पनिशमेंट तो हबो नै किंतु आम निंदित हेबे जरूर केमतिया इनफॉर्मल कंट्रोल इज मेनली एक्सरसाइज बाय अनरिटन रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस characterized by informal agents like folkways traditional belief and customs rituals gossip public opinion etc informal means of social control evolve on their own and are an integral and accepted part of life over a period of time they become more established with practice এবং যেতলে সমাজ গতিশীল हुए এবং এই প্রথা পরম্পরা এই যে বিভিন্ন ফকলোর আছে যে অনেক গুড়ে তোমার संस्कार मूलक जो जिनस गुड़ाक अच्छी धीरे धीरे आम जीवन एक अंश विशेष हो जाए ଏବଂ ଆମର ପାର୍ଟ ଆଣ୍ଡ ପାର୍ସଲ ଅଫ ଲାଇଫ ହେଇଯାଏ, ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ପରବର୍ତ୍ତୀ ସମୟରେ ଅନ୍ୟ ଜେନେରେସନ୍स କୁ ତା ଆମେ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ଓଭର କରିଥାଉ, ତା ପାର୍କୁଲେଟ୍ କରିଥାଏ। Informal means of social control evolve on their own and are integral and accepted part of life over a period of time. They become more established with practice, though no specific punishment is given to persons in case of violation. Yet informal controls are more effective uh, in their influence than even formal control. ଯଦିଓ ଏହାକୁ ନ ମାନିଲେ ବା ଏହାକୁ ଅନୁସରଣ ନ କଲେ ଆମେ ଦଣ୍ଡିତ ହେବେ ନାହିଁ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଏହା ଅନେକ ମାତ୍ରାରେ ଆମକୁ ନିୟନ୍ତ୍ରିତ କରିଥାଏ, ଇଭେନ୍ ମଚ୍ ମୋର୍ ଏଫେକ୍ଟିଭ ହେଇଥାଏ ଦେନ୍ ୟୋର ଫର୍ମାଲ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ। ଦେ ଆର୍ ମୋର୍ ଏଫେକ୍ଟିଭ in simple or rural society where members of society are more tradition oriented and the community is more tightly knit. They are also more effective in primary groups like your family where interactions takes place more at personal ground. In informal control, the control is either through internalized values or through feelings or shame, honor and ridicule. ଏବେ ଦେଖିବା ଯେ जो एजेंट गुड़ा अछंती कहा माध्यम रे ए सामाजिक नियंत्रण कार्यटा होउची, ए एजेंसी ऑफ योर सोशल कंट्रोल को देखिबे। एजेंसीज ऑफ योर सोशल कंट्रोल, लेट्स सी द एजेंट्स। को माने हमको नियंत्रित करूछंती, हमर व्यवहार को नियंत्रण करूछंती। एक्सक्यूज मी, a society maintains social control through agencies that have evolved over time to be effective. समाज रे सदस्य मानक नियंत्रित करबा पई अनेक गुड़े तुम एजेंट्स बा एजेंसीज अच्छी जो माने कि एक इफेक्टिव वे रे काम करछंती सो एज टू कंट्रोल द पीपल। सोसाइटी यूजेस लॉ, कौन कौन यूज करे कंट्रोल करबा पई लोकन को? लॉज, एजुकेशन, फिजिकल कोएशन एंड कोड्स besides folkways, religion, traditional custom, mores, etc. So as to exercise control over its members of society. So the types of social control mechanism used by society depends upon nature of society in terms of its organizational complexity. या organizational complexity ऊपर डिपेंड करूची कि से को माध्यम आ को एजेंट से माने यूज करिवो so as to control the people. सामाजिक नियंत्रण पाई, लोक को नियंत्रित करबा पाई, लोकंकर भावना को नियंत्रण करबा पाई, लोकमानकर वे ऑफ बिहेविंग को नियंत्रित करबा पाई डिफरेंट एजेंट्स आर देयर लाइक दिस योर लॉ, एजुकेशन, फिजिकल कोएशन, कोड्स, फोकवेज, रिलीजन। आ मार्क करथिबे जे रूरल बैकग्राउंड रे, रूरल इंडिया रे ए रिलीजन, फोकवेज, ट्रेडिशनल कस्टम्स एगुडा को बहुत इफेक्टिवली काम करितांती एज ए मीन्स ऑफ योर सोशल एज एन एजेंट ऑफ योर सोशल कंट्रोल। किंतु अर्बन सेटअप रे दिस लॉ, एजुकेशन, अदर योर मास मीडिया से काम करते एजेंट ऑफ सोशल कंट्रोल हिसाब रे। लेट्स सी वन बाय वन हाउ वी आर कंट्रोल्ड, हमें केमिति नियंत्रित होचे। कंट्रोल बाय लॉ, मनुष्य को बांधी रखा, मनुष्यर भावना को नियंत्रित करबा, एक सामाजिक पशु को कंट्रोल करबा एते सहज नुहे। आमे होछु सामाजिक पशु, आम भितर मध्य अनेक गुड़े सर्ट रिपोर्ट रोचे शुणिथे, काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद, मात्सर्य एवं अनेक गुड़े गुण somehow that resembles with your that गोटे पशु सहित समान थिबा अनेक गुड़े गुण आम भितर अछि, ताको आमे नियंत्रित करूछि। सेते पे अनेक गुड़े एजेंसीज काम करछन्ते समाज रे। तथापि भी शिक्षा हो किंबा नीति नियम हो, अनेक गुड़े जिनस हैला परे मध्य आमे बहुत गुड़े एमितिया क्राइम सीन आमे देखिया को मिलु समाज रे, जहा के देखिले ताको सुनिले माने भाभी हो नाही जे आमे मनुष्य बोली। योर सीरियल केसेस गुड़ा को आउचे रिलेटेड टू योर मर्डर, देन रेप केसेस, so many your what is that killing mercilessly, riots are there, so many your what is that crimes that you are committed by the different your people jaku ame କହିବେ ଯେ ତାହା बिल्कुल ग्रहणीय नुहे एवं they are not supposed to be in this your society. Control by law केमती होची देखो आमे केमती नियंत्रित होची law द्वारा. Law is the most powerful instrument of social control in the modern urban industrial society. Law appears in a society with a political organizations of the state. एवं एक political organizations of the state ए law को आणुची एवं जाको से तुम्हारा exercise करूची so as to restrain people in different sphere. The term law has been defined in various ways. According to J.S. Rock, says that laws are a form of social rule emanating from political agencies. A political agencies through as the source of law are many. Laws are made by and legislations are enacted on the basis of social doctrine, ideals, and mores. Laws are made formal when they are enacted by a proper law-making authority. Formal laws are deliberately made with proper planning. Formal laws गुड़ाक deliberately जानी सुनी केमितिया नियंत्रित करा जे परिबा को स्फीयर ताको नियंत्रित करा जे गोटे मनुष्य को ताको आखि आगे रखि कि ता सृष्टि करा हिता by a proper authority. In the your western system, laws are supposed to be definite, clear, and precise, and everybody is treated equally before law in identical circumstances. Such may not, however, be true for non-Western laws emanating from cultures other than your European. Again, law is also enforced by agencies. Therefore, formal bodies are created. A formal laws गुड़ाको आमे exercise करिवा पाए लोक मानक भितरे याको प्रयोग करिवा पाए हम अनेक गुड़े तुम्हारा formal तुम्हारा bodies अछंती. With colonizations and the spread of Western civilizations, the nature of formal law has become similar in most societies. तो यह हूँ एक माध्यम जहाद्वारा कि आम लोक नियंत्रित करुचे दैट इज लॉज. देन कंट्रोल बाय एजुकेशन शिक्षा माध्यम आम केमती लोक नियंत्रित करुचे. शिक्षा एक बहुत बड़ एक माध्यम जहाँकि आमर व्यवहार प्रणाली को मार्जित करुचे आमर चिंता चेतना को मार्जित करुचे एवं आम अनेक गुड़े व्हाट टू डू व्हाट नॉट टू डू आम को वी शुड बी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम एब्सटेंट फ्रॉम से आम शिक्षा ग्रहण करुचे एवं निज को नियंत्रित करुचे. Education is a very significant tool and a mechanism of social control in all forms of society. Education can be just simply viewed as the imbibing of social values and norms by the younger generations. Informal education is imparted by all socializing agents, especially the family. Education has been visualized by Emile Durkheim as the socializations of the younger generation. See the definition of your definition by your Emile Durkheim. That is your socializations of the younger generation. हमको यहाँ बहुत एक महत्व रखे आम जीवन रे शिक्षा जहाँकि हमको नियंत्रित करुचे आम व्यवहार पद्धति को आम सोच विचार को नियंत्रित करुची कंट्रोल करुची एवं आम अनेक गुड़े जिनस कौन करेंगे न करेंगे आम शिक्षा ग्रहण करुचु. Through the education by it is through the education by which society passes its heritage to from one generation to another. Formal education, that is the education that is imparted by an institutions that is dedicated primarily to it and which has its own your tools and techniques, books and teachers been playing central role in controlling the behavior of members of society. आम इनफॉर्मल मैनर रे एवं फॉर्मल मैनर रे शिक्षा दोचु. इनफॉर्मल वे रे आम घरे आमर पीयर ग्रुप आमर फ्रेंड सर्किल एवं एपटे फॉर्मल वे रे विभिन्न स्कूल विभिन्न अनुष्ठान माध्यम रे बुक्स माध्यम रे टीचर्स मानक द्वारा अनेक गुड़े शिक्षा दिया होची एवं आमर बिहेवियर पैटर्न को शेप करा होची. Formal education is designed to impart the right kind of ideology to the young members of society so that they contribute to its your reproductions. Formal education often includes religious and patriotic values that are deemed necessary for the formation of the responsible citizen. एक responsible citizen सृष्टि करबा पई तांको शिक्षा दान कराई था तांको patriotic values शिक्षा दिया था जाके deemed necessary from the very early childhood जाके एक सुस्थ एक नागरिक को एक सृष्टि करिबो. सेते पई ए एजुकेशन एक माध्यम जाके एक तो व्यवहार को नियंत्रित करिबो तापरे एक्सपेक्टेड वे ऑफ बिहेवियर पैटर्न से शिक्षा देबो. तापरे another agent is your control by public opinion. पब्लिक ओपिनियन से बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करे जहाको लोके कहिबे कोन एई भावना हम माइंड रे आसे एवं ताकू नै कि हमें हमर सामाजिक व्यवहार हम जो अनेक गुडे इंपल्सेस अछि हमें हमर अनेक गुडे काम अछि जो जो इच्छा अछि ताकू हमें कंट्रोल करूछे public opinion is an important agency of social control. Public opinion simply refers to mass of ideas which people expresses on any given issue. In fact, it works as a collective opinion of majority of members of society. ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଏକ ଓପିନିଅନ କୁ ଏକ କଲେକ୍ଟିଭ ମାଇଣ୍ଡ ର ବୋଲି ଚିନ୍ତା କରୁ ଏହାକୁ ଏକ ପବ୍ଲିକ ଓପିନିଅନ ବୋଲି ଚିନ୍ତା କରୁ କୌଣସି ଏକ ଇସ୍ୟୁଜ କୁ ନେଇକି ଦେଲେ ସେଇ ପବ୍ଲିକ ଓପିନିଅନ ଉଠେ ତ ସେଇ କାମ କଲା ବେଳକୁ ଆମେ ଆମର ମାଇଣ୍ଡ ରେ ଆସେ नो इट इज गोइंग अगेंस्ट द पब्लिक योर ओपिनियन या कलेक्टिव जो अछि चिंताधारा ता अगेंस्ट रे जाउछि तेणु आमे कामटा करिवे नै आमे नियंत्रित हे जाउछि आमे कंट्रोल हे जाउछि moreover it is more valued in democratic societies public opinion is gathered through various modern means like your press radio and television एमान को माध्यम रे हमरा पब्लिक ओपिनियन सृष्टि करा जायते जाको लोके सम्मान दैतांती एवं अकॉर्डिंगली तांकर व्यवहार को नियंत्रित करतांती then another your agent is your control by propaganda propaganda does affect people's attitude behavior faith and ideology at times it is also used to replace an older belief system with the new one however it may have both positive and negative impact most your governments and power regimes use propaganda to bring changes in the behavior of people thus people are urged to conform to the goals of the state willingly through propaganda that makes them believe that what the society wants is actually also good for them. So propaganda मध्ये एक बहुत बड़ा एक एजेंट जहाँकि आम भितर एक सचेतनता सृष्टि करता है what to do what not to do and so as to change our attitudes our beliefs and all your practices whatever in our day-to-day activities. तापर that is your control by coercion बल प्रयोग द्वारा मध्ये हमको नियंत्रित कराई था मार्क करते अनेक आंसर हमको अनेक सिचुएशंस रे हमको विभिन्न एजेंसी बल प्रयोग करथांती हमर सामाजिक हमको नियंत्रित करबा पय समाज रे coercion coercion refers to physical force to stop or control the people or to control the behavior of an individual or group when people are forced to follow certain rules under threat or under some imposed controls it is said that coercion is used to regulate the behavior of an individual or members of society state is the only agency which uses its legitimately although everyone may not agree with every situations of use of force like when police uses force on peacefully demonstrating people or when the state uses repressive measures to suppress any protest किंतु बल प्रयोग मध्ये एक माध्यम जद्रा कि आमे सामाजिक नियंत्रण आमे रखिताउ लोक को आमे कंट्रोल करिताउ तापरे मोस्ट जाकि आमे समाज रे पाइताउ एक माध्यम ता होची कंट्रोल बाय कस्टम आमे प्रथा परंपरा को द्वाही दे प्रथा परंपरा को मानी आमे हम निकु नियंत्रित करताउ जे यह समाज रो अनेक परंपरा रो विरुद्ध रे आउछि या सामाजिक नीति नियम रो विरुद्ध रे आउछि प्रथा परंपरा विरुद्धाचरण होछि एवं सही माध्यम रे हमको निजे कंट्रोल करताउ custom custom is basically an informal means of social control it is exercised mostly unconsciously we learn them from childhood in our families or what we say in primary groups in a very informal manner रे हमें परिवार रे हमें सिखिताउ the customs of the society जहा कि हमको कंट्रोल करिथा it ensures collective life they are more influential in traditional or rural society एवं rural society रे या अनेक मात्रा अनेक गुडे जिंस पाप पुण्य रो भय ए काम कले पुण्य हबो ए काम कले पाप हबो ए प्रकार का चिंता धारा जहा कि हमको फ्रॉम द वेरी चाइल्डहुड हमको शिक्षा दिया है जहा कि बैकअप बाय योर कस्टम्स ट्रेडिशंस ऑफ द सोसाइटी ताकू हमें आखि आगे रखि कि हमें हमको नियंत्रित करिथाउ देन कंट्रोल बाय रिलीजन धर्म मध्य हमें बेले कहू या धर्म विरुद्ध रे गोटे काम होउची से समय आमे रिलीजन द्वारा कंट्रोल होछ अनेक गुडे काम हमें करू ना एबे जस्ट कहउतले मु पाप पुण्य रो भय religion refers to faith in some supernatural forces McAver and Page has defined religion as a religion implies a relationship not merely your between man, but also between man and some higher power. Religion is a system of belief and practices. Religion is a faith to some natural your powers. ଆମେ ଏକ ଅଦୃଶ୍ୟ ଏକ ଶକ୍ତି ସହିତ ନିଜକୁ ଯୋଡ଼ି ଥାଉ ଏବଂ ସେଇ ହିସାବରେ ଆମର ବିହେଭିୟର ପ୍ୟାଟର୍ନ କୁ ଆମେ ସେପ୍ ଦେଇଥାଉ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡ଼ିଏ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସେସ୍ ଆମେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିଦେଉ ଏବଂ ତାହା ଯେତେବେଳେ ରିଲିଜିଅନ एज एन ओपियम बेले बेले आमको जब पॉजिटिवली आमको बुस्ट अप कला ताले अनेक गुडे सामाजिक मंगलकारी कार्य हो पारिबो किंतु नेगेटिवली काम कला या बहुत डिवास्टेटेड डिटेल जानि तथापि रिलीजन एक बड़ माध्यम जहाँ द्वारा कि आम नियंत्रित होता आम भीतर अनेक गुडे नियंत्रण आसी था इट इज ए स्ट्रॉन्ग इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ सोशल कंट्रोल religion. Therefore, it is based on the belief that it confirms the man's relationship with God and therefore constitute a religious code. जेहेतु आम सब जिन गुड़ाक आम भगवान सहित आम जड़ित कर जस्ट कहते पाप पुण्य भय यही कम कले पाप हम यही कम कले पुण्य हम रिलीजियस कोड सहित अटैच थाए तेणु आम कंट्रोल होता it is this religious code which becomes significant to control the conduct of human behavior. The power of religion is very deep rooted as it conflates the social requirements with the wishes of the higher power. For example, in many religions, women are made to believe that it is their religious duty to serve men and is very effective in maintaining and continuing a patriarchal society. Similarly, many religions supported the rule of king, saying that the king of ruler was divine. Mark करिथिबे जे मैरिज इज एन इंस्टीट्यूशन आम एठी काम करूची अन्य सोसाइटी रे काम करूची किंतु द रेट ऑफ डिवोर्स को देखा जो हमर एठी नाही वेस्टर्न ये रे यूरोपियन कंट्रीज मानन करे डिवोर्स इज कॉमन तार कारण होची जे मैरिज एज एन इंस्टीट्यूशन तार जो विभिन्न जिंस गुडा होची वी अटैच दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग विथ योर गॉड्स एक्ट विवाह को धर्म से जोड़ा हो एक धार्मिक कार्य बोली कहा जबकि क्रिश्चियन कम्युनिटी रे इस्लाम कम्युनिटी रे इट इज ए सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ओनली सामाजिक चुक्ति केवल किंतु आम जीवन रे वैवाहिक जिनस गुड़ाक एटेस्ट एक धार्मिक कार्य बोली कहूँ एक पवित्र बंधन बोली कहूँ से डिवोर्स टा से कमन नुहे आमर ये कारण यह धर्म सहित एटाच अच्छे आम जिते भी चिंता करूँ सेपरेशन से आमको रिलीजियस कोड आम माइंड रे आउछ आम से दूरे रोचे से लंग टर्म पर्यंत ये बॉन्ड टा काम करुच्ची मैरिज जो बॉन्ड टा अच्छी बहुत लंबा टाइम पर्यंत कंटिन्यू करुच्ची बिकॉज इट इज योर अटैच टू सम रिलीजियस कोड रिलीजियस बिलीफ एंड प्रैक्टिसेस देन कंट्रोल बाय मोरालिटी आम बेले बेले वी आर कंट्रोल बाय मोरालिटी मोराल केतरा जिनस अच्छी जहाँकि आम शिक्षा करता छोट दिन एवं ता द्वारा आम विवेक अनुमोदित कार्य जिते कौन से कार्य कला विवेक बाधा दूसरी ना ये कमटा करवा उचित नुहे से कंट्रोल हो जाऊँ अनेक गुड बेसिक इम्पल्सेस आम फुल चाहिला बेले को आम यहाँ करूँ से समय आम निजक निजे कंट्रोल करुँ कहीकि विवेक अनुमोदन करूना तेणु ए दूरे रहा भल दैट इज योर कंट्रोल बाय मोरालिटी देयर इज अ क्लोज रिलेशन बिटवीन मोरालिटी एंड रिलीजन एवं ये मोरालिटी आईता कौटू ये धार्मिक भावना धार्मिक जो चिंताधारा सृष्टि मोरालिटी मोरालिटी इज दैट बॉडी ऑफ रूल्स एंड प्रिंसिपल कंसर्न विथ गुड एंड इविल एज मैनिफेस्टेड टू अस बाय कंसाइंस मोरालिटी is what makes a person distinguish right conduct from wrong. But the moral order is not universal and varies from society to society, and each society imbibes its own norms and values in its children. In the context of Western society, one many identify honesty, faithfulness, trust, fairness, consciousness, kindness, and sacrifice to represent some of the your moral concept. आम इंडियन कंटेक्स्ट रे ए वेस्टर्न कंसेप्ट सहित या सहित आहरी अनेक जिन पुणी अटैच करता है जहाँकि रिलेटेड टू योर रिलीजियस बिलीव एंड प्रैक्टिसेस को अटैच कर दिया जाए यहाँ आहरी स्ट्रांग हो जाए मोराली आम बेसी स्ट्रांग होता जे व्हाट टू डू व्हाट नॉट टू डू इन डिफरेंट सिचुएशन द मोरल ऑर्डर ऑफ इंडियन सोसाइटी इज मोर टुवर्ड्स फैमिली एंड रेस्पेक्ट फॉर एल्डर्स एंड फॉलोइंग रूल्स द मोरल ऑर्डर इज इंटरनलाइज्ड बाय द पीपल and therefore plays very crucial role in influencing people's behavior. यह प्रभावित करता है दैनंदिन जीवन आम बिहेवियर पैटर्न को जहाँ द्वारा आम प्रॉपरली आम नियंत्रित होता हूँ आम दैनंदिन जीवन रे। Thus, society, in order to function smoothly and effectively, uses some form of your inbuilt mechanism. एक inbuilt mechanism अच्छी society रो जद्वारा से तार सदस्य मान को नियंत्रण करूची। Individuals have the tendency to deviate from the desired behavior because of their desires for their self. एवं प्रत्येक समाज रे यह निश्चित जे मनुष्य तार जो बेसिक डिजायर गुड़ाक अच्छी ताको पूरा करने ପାଇଁ से डेविएंट हवा स्वाभाविक एक स्केयर्स अछि और से जगह हमर अनलिमिटेड वांट्स अछि बेसिक इंस्टिंक्ट गुड़ा को पूरा करबा पय हमें डेविएट करबा स्वाभाविक तो सही समय ए एजेंसीज गुड़ा को इनबिल्ट मेकानिज्म जा समाज रे अछि ताहा हमको नियंत्रित करूछंती और जहा कि एक सोशल ऑर्डर मेंटेन करा पय हमको सहायता करूछि एवं एक स्मूथ सोसाइटी फंक्शन करूछि। Individuals have the tendency to deviate from the desired behavior because of their desires for themselves, like pleasure and individualistic goal fulfillment. For example, people wish for the good things of life that they may not be able to get by fair means, but by antisocial means such as theft or breaking of rules. आमे सपोज जहाँ पाई पारु ना हो जहाँ पाइबा को चाहूचु ता जदि हमर सामर्थ्य बाहर हेउची आमे ताकू केमितिया एक अन्य वे रे पाइबे ताहा आमे करिया पय चेष्टा करूचु एवं सही समय ए सामाजिक नियंत्रण जो एजेंसी जो अछंती तांकर भूमिका बहुत गुरुत्वपूर्ण अटे। आमे आमे रूल ब्रेक करिया पय बेले चेष्टा करू प्रेस्क्राइब वे ऑफ बिहेविंग रो आमे दूरे जाऊ रिक्विजिट को आमे भूली जाऊ सही समय ए सोशल कंट्रोल हम पर इफेक्टिव हेई था थ्रू योर डिफरेंट एजेंसीज। Social control refers to all the your mechanisms which are used to regulate the behavior of individuals and makes them conform to its norms and values. It is the way through which society ensures its collective life and maintains normative social order. This is all about your social control. Let's a little bit हमरे देखिबे टिके social change संबंध रे आ कम टाइम अछि एवं से भितरे मु आपन कहूची व्हाट इज सोशल चेंज इज अबाउट सामाजिक परिवर्तन सामाजिक परिवर्तन चेंज इज इनएविटेबल माने परिवर्तन निश्चय हबो या सोशल चेंज निश्चय हबो जेंते सामाजिक समाजटा गतिशील अटे तेणु सामाजिक परिवर्तन अवश्यम्भावी निश्चय हबो एवं ए सोशल चेंज पय को फैक्टर्स दाई सोशल चेंज हुए केमितिया सोशल चेंज ले को तरे चेंज आउची सामाजिक स्तर रे हम ताको डिस्कस करिवे। लेट्स से social change can broadly be defined as the significant alterations or modifications of any social organizations and or social structure and functions of a society and its various manifestations. तार सामाजिक परिवर्तन The definitions incorporated the aspects of significant changes in the various patterns of social relationship, social processes, social patterns, actions and interaction. The rules of relationship and conduct, values, symbols, and cultural products. The concept of social change also refers to variations over time in both the material and non-material aspect of culture. हम सामाजिक परिवर्तन कले अनेक गुडे परिवर्तन सोशल स्ट्रक्चर रे परिवर्तन सोशल इंस्टीट्यूशंस मानकर काम रे परिवर्तन तापरे ओवर टाइम मटेरियल एवं नॉन मटेरियल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ कल्चर रे परिवर्तन ए सब को यार सब जो मिला जुला संरूप होची एक सामाजिक परिवर्तन। There are few main approaches to the understanding of your social change and social transformations. हमें social change को बुझिबे को हेले अनेक गुडे थ्योरीज अछि हमें देखिबा से थ्योरी गुडा कोन वन इज इवोल्यूशनरी थ्योरीज cyclical theories and structural functional theories. ए तीनटा theories important so as to understand the process of your social change. These are the theories on your social changes. First, let's see evolutionary theory. Evolutionary theories of social change are conglomerations of many but interrelated theories of change. The main notions of the evolution theory of change is that theory there is a consistent directions of social change of all societies in a similar sequence of stages from the original to the final stage of development or from a simple and primitive to the more complex and advanced state. यही सब परिवर्तन होची तापरे इवोल्यूशनरी थ्योरी also implies that evolutionary changes will culminate at reaching the final stage of development. Evolutionary theories consider change as progress and growth. The theory can be classified into two main categories, that is classical evolutionary theory and neo-evolutionary theory. Then see the your cyclical theories. Eta kono? This is cyclical theories have been concerned with the repetitions, repetitious change of conditions, forms, and fashions over a long period of time in the society. Although the period of recurrent phases of change would vary. The cyclical theorists believe that कौन सा believe करती जे केमिति सामाजिक परिवर्तन आसे नहीं societies pass through a series of stages हमर changes जो होची different stages से कि गतिशील however they do not consider the notions of ending in a stage of perfection या गोटे एक निर्दिष्ट स्टेज को perfection stage को असले सब बंद या नुहे केमिति ता but see them as a return to the stage where it began ता पुनरावृत्ति होची for further round in a cyclic manner. This is your cyclical theories of your social change. Then let's see the factors of your social change. को कारक गुड़ी का दायी या होचंती biological factor. अच्छा let's see जो को factor का काम करचंती for your social change. Social change is brought about by various factors. These factors are mainly responsible for the differences in the rate and nature of changes in different societies and at different times. सामाजिक परिवर्तन अवश्य भाव निश्चय हम यहाँ एथि को फैक्टर काम करछंती दैट इज बायोलॉजिकल फैक्टर geographical factor technological factors and socio cultural factors ए चारटा फैक्टर्स काम करछंती फॉर सोशल चेंज केमितिया the both the non-human biological factor and human biological factor responsible for social change. They affect the lives of the people in varied ways. Human beings needs plants and animals for survival, be it for food, cloth, medicine, and other purposes in many different ways, as defined by one's culture. Man also needs plants and animals indirectly for availing oxygen and other your utilities through many processes. You know, any sorts of transformations যদি হেলা biological factor রে non-human biological factor रे कि human biological factor रे यह एक सामाजिक परिवर्तन आणुची सामाजिक स्तर रे transformations of the environment may bring about changes in livelihood, food habits, and related social aspects. Human biological factors affected social changes in too many ways. The genetic character of a given population and the quantity, density, and compositions of population. यह आणिबो जदि जे कोनसे का परिवर्तन आसिला नॉन ह्यूमन बायोलॉजिकल ये रे वे रे किमा ह्यूमन बायोलॉजिकल फैक्टर से जदि परिवर्तन आसिला then definitely यह ऑटोमेटिकली यार इंपैक्ट रहबो एक ब्रॉडर सेंस रे सोशल चेंज आड़को geographic factor टा केम दिया geographic changes have been significant factors of social change and there are several instances where social changes have been brought about by geographic factors. Natural disasters such as earthquake, floods can cause both environmental and social changes. Upon when land and resources are lost in such mishap, there is deepening of social inequalities as most of the burden falls on your marginal people. Ecological changes is also a major source of social change in the modern times. Many ecological changes have been induced by human beings, overpopulations of a region, overexploitations of a region, border area, or due to social and political conflict, deforestations. Yeah, it will cause enormous social and ecological problem, and it will bring sea change in the society. Then other factors like your technical changes, technical factors, अच्छे जाके हमारे social change होची. Technology has been considered as one of the most important factors of social change. हमें technology हमें जरूर change आउची जैसे कि might have seen the industrial revolution, technological advancement टा industrial revolutions को पथ प्रदर्शन कला एवं industrial revolution बा industrializations जो ता परवर्ती समय रे एक बड़ एक सामाजिक परिवर्तन हला ताके हमें फ्रेंच revolutions में देखि पारुछे. तापर another factor is your socio-cultural factors. Socio-cultural factors have been the most important causal factors of social changes. Humans are the most important player of social change. A society is a human creation, so also humans are primarily responsible for rechanging their own creation. social change has been caused by various human activities in the form of discovery, invention, diffusion, social movement, and so on. तापरे ये जो सोशल चेंजेस होची यार इंपैक्ट ता केमती पडुची लोक मानक ऊपर दैट विल सी the impact of social changes on human society has been a major concern for social scientists, particularly sociologists, and sociologists are concerned with the impact on the ground more than on the your individual. The opinion of socialists about social changes differs according to the school to which they belong. There are many sociologists who believe that industrial society alienates individuals from one another because of the nature of the work. ଏହା ସାମାଜିକ ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନ ଯେମିତି କି ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଉଦ୍ୟୋଗୀକରଣ ହେଲା ଏହା ଅନେକ ମାତ୍ରାରେ ସାମାଜିକ ଜୀବନରେ ସାମାଜିକ ସମ୍ପର୍କରେ ଅନେକ ଗୁଡିଏ ଚେଞ୍ଜେସ୍ ଆଣିଲା यार impact ରହୁଛି ତାପରେ according to Karl Marx he thinks that the move from agrarian to industrial society would alienate people from their labor and therefrom their real selves. This he felt was inevitable because the goods produced would be owned by the factory owner and not the worker. There are also other socialists who think that industrial society would affect human society. So सामाजिक परिवर्तन रो बहुत इम्पैक्ट अच्छी मनुष्य जीवन रे इवन यार इम्पैक्ट रहउची हमरो इकोलॉजिकल ह्यूमन एनवायरनमेंट तापर नेचुरल एनवायरनमेंट ऊपर the introduction of your modern know-how and technology has also caused great problems and anxiety to human life and the environment. The heavy use of automobiles and fuels causes massive populations and hazardous emissions. It also pollutes and damages the physical environment that man depends for survival. The acute demand for fuel and the mean to meet the demand have often led to the conflict between the communities and states, even to the extent of war. The inventions and use of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction have caused great concern to the humanity. तो सामाजिक परिवर्तन रा एटा होचे नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट यहाँ कल्चरली हमको एक परिवर्तन आणुची हम चिंता चेतना रे परिवर्तन आणुची वे ऑफ लिविंग रे परिवर्तन आणुची ओके या सहित हमर एनवायरनमेंट रे मध्ये अनेक गुडे इम्पैक्ट रहउची at the same time humans are forming bonds across the world and we have now the concept of the global village. Thus changes work both ways and the future is always unpredictable. या पॉजिटिव वे रे नेगेटिव वे रे काम कोची पॉजिटिव वे रे सामाजिक परिवर्तन हमको एक ग्लोबलाइजेशन साड को हमको टाणी नै छी जोटी हमें ग्लोबल विलेज हे गेलनी सारा विश्व एक ग्राम बा एक गोटे सिंगल अम्ब्रेला तले हम समस्त रहउछु हमर ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स डेवलप करिछि हमर टेक्निकल नो हाउ रो शेयरिंग होउछि कल्चरल ट्रांसमिशन होउछि डिफ्यूजन होउछि एसिमिलेशन होउछि यार पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव वे रे अनेक गुडे मते नेगेटिवली हमर होउछि जंत कि एनवायरमेंटली डिग्रेडेड सिचुएशन ग्लोबल वार्मिंग या तुम्हारा वाटर एयर सॉइल नॉइज पोल्यूशन ओके तापरे स्केर्स जो रिसोर्सेस अछि ता पाया पे वार सिचुएशन सृष्टि होउछि जाके आपण देखि परतबे द चाइनीज एटीट्यूड तो सोशल चेंजेस both negative and positive impact होउछि. Thus I conclude my session today. Dear students, I hope आपण माने बुझी पारिथिबे विभिन्न concept like socialization, social change, the agencies and all that. Any questions please? यह होछि लास्ट क्लास 131 रो हमें जो छोटा क्लास करिवार थिला आगु चारटा क्लास करथिले एबे दीटा काली और आज को मिसे की सो 131 is completed.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
गुड मॉर्निंग
सर ये जो छोटा क्लास बा कथा एटा फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर रो छोटा क्लास सर.
राइट
सर एटा मु जनवरी सेशन रे एडमिशन हेथिले तो मोर हिंदी मीडियम थिला तो हिंदी मीडियम रो अलगा क्लास होची ना एक क्लास ही चलियो
एक क्लास ही चलिबो कारण अन्य तो का को एमते असाइन कराई नि सो एज टू इम्पैक्ट दैट दिस पर्टिकुलर क्लासेस थ्रू योर हिंदी मीडियम ठीक है ना. तो एक क्लास ता होची कॉमन क्लास फॉर एवरीवन. जदि आपण अन्य किछि जदि आउरी अधिक जानिबा पय चाहउचंती then definitely you should consult Dr. Panigrahi. ମୁଁ ଆଜି ତ ସାର୍ ବୋଧେ absent ଅଛନ୍ତି ଫର କୌଣସି କାମ ପାଇଁ ସେ ଥାନ୍ତେ କାଲି ମତେ ଜଣେ ମତେ ଏମିତି ଏକ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ସ କରିତେ ଯାହାକି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସର୍ଟ ଆଉଟ୍ ହେଇପାରିଥାନ୍ତା।
ଆଉ ସାର୍ ୟାର ଫର୍ମ ଫିଲଅପ କେବେ ହବ ଏକ୍ଜାମ କେବେ ହବ ସେ ବିଷୟରେ କିଛି
ଏହା ବାବଦରେ ମୋର ନଲେଜ ନାହିଁ ତ ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଯଦି ଅନ୍ୟ କୌଣସି ସେସନ ରେ ପିଲାବେଳେ ଯଦି ପାଣିଗ୍ରାହୀ ସାରଙ୍କ ତ ଯଦି ଆଉଛନ୍ତି then you will get the enough information from Dr. Panigrahi sure
ओके सर
ठीक अछि so today I conclude my class. I hope you'll be having a good time with me in this session and I hope that you'll do your best in sociology particularly. It is a nice subject ଏବଂ ମୁଁ ଆଶା କରୁଛି ଏହା ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ କ୍ୟାରିୟର ପାଇଁ ଏବଂ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଡେ ଟୁ ଡେ ଲାଇଫ ପାଇଁ it will help enormously and will have a positive impact on your social and others life. Thank you. Thank you everybody. Have a good day. Thank you.
थैंक यू
ଡକ୍ଟର ପାଣିଗ୍ରାହୀ ସେ ବିଷୟରେ ସବୁ ଜାଣେ।
ये खाली माने तांकर एब्सेंट ऑलरेडी जाने फर्स्ट सेमिस्टर रो ऑलरेडी एगा ये होते नहीं ये जेबेठू क्लास हला ना सेई लगी आज बही सारी देला हो है ना